We good evening, good early evening. This is a quick space coming up. I want to address an issue. Just letting you know, we will be back on this evening, later this evening at the normal time. But I just had all I could take, people. I got to address it. My question is, why do people who are not entitled to reparations hold a space on our goddamn money? Can somebody please tell me, Wani, why they have spaces on our shit?
They have no life. They are trying to obstruct what we're doing, and the whole time, these people in their countries are trying to get reparations. So I don't know why they don't have a room on that. I don't know why they don't focus on that.
Man, real talk, man. I'm gonna say Yafikoto Kufuado of the prime minister, or whatever you call it in Ghana. They had a whole bunch to say about us asking for reparations and begging the white man. And about 8 months ago, I saw that Kufuado was trying to get some put things in place to get reparations. Why don't people know how to mind their fucking business? I mean, real
Well,
talk.
it's part of a con game that they're running. They keep putting up proposals to Europe um, at the Durban conference in South Africa and other venues to say that they should get reparations for their people being stolen. Hey, bitch, we're over here. What are you talking about? Your people, you're ghost people. We're like ghost people to these people. They want to pretend like we don't exist, like something happened long ago and the remnants of it are gone. No, we still have ancestries coming from there. Even though we formed a whole new ethnicity, we still have, we're still the descendants of some of that activity. So they're trying to pretend like we're just an invisible group that got snatched, that they didn't sell, that got snatched from the coast, and that they want to be paid for that. Basically, they want to be paid because they're too stupid to know how to make business deals. They just gave people 40 human beings for an umbrella, and those people turned around and sold each person for $400. Sometimes I saw $1,200 once. So I think the average cost is 400 $400 a person, and they sold 40 people for broken umbrellas and broken glass mirrors and all kinds of stuff. They want to be paid for their stupidity, and they want to pretend like the victims of that don't exist. Every time someone goes to one of those monuments, that money should go to impoverished Black Americans, not into the slave sellers' pockets.
No cap. And what Wani was just saying was actually fucking factual. These were dumbasses. Who am I talking about? Let me be real clear. I'm talking about the tribal chiefs of West Africa and places known as Nigeria, now Togo, Ghana, the Gold Coast, all that mess. According to Dr. Claude Anderson, the self-destructive attitudes of the tribal chiefs have yet to be fully explained or understood. He talking about the tribal chiefs in West Africa. He says, quote, but historian Norman Combs offered one explanation as to why the chiefs so willingly traded their valuable resources to European and Arab traders. According to Combs, African tribal chiefs willingly participated in such questionable trade practices because West African economies were subsistence-based, and therefore people were satisfied with the status quo and saw no need to accumulate wealth and power. What does that mean? That mean they were balling. They saw a person, a European they didn't understand, who was starved half to death and vicious, and they said, "Let me show this white man how big and bad I am. I'm so amazing that I'm going to sell my own people to him because they're nothing to me. They're beneath me." And that shit came back to get them. Dr. John Henry Clark said, the African invited the European to the table, and the African became the meal. That's what they get. So how dare you fuck up a business deal and then come back and ask for my money? Um, the Dr. Claude Anderson also says, true or not, white traders took advantage of tribal chiefs' generosities, but this self-destructive tribalism, self-enslavement, these people are idiots. And that's my words, not Dr. Claude Anderson's words. Self-enslavement and, quote, lack of concern for wealth were interpreted by the Europeans as signs of inferiority. They believe these uncivilized, childlike heathens neither accepted nor deserved their God-given wealth. Consequently, whites rationalized that was their moral duty to take and utilize Africa's wealth and put blacks into productive work as slaves. The Africans are responsible for the system of white supremacy. They nurtured it like a mama with her, like a mama's breast to a baby's mouth, and nobody wants to say it. Well, I'm saying it. I said it in Spain. God damn it, I said it. Any questions? We call that the doctrine of unequal exchange. But to answer the question of the space, why do people who are not entitled to reparations hold spaces on our shit? Well, Wani gave us a vector of understanding with respect to West Africa. West African descendants know they fucked up a business deal. They see us about to get a bag, and they feel some type of connection between us. I don't mean a nice connection. I mean, we used to be their property, and they want some of that bag. So my question then becomes, Wani, why are Ethiopians holding spaces on our fucking reparations money?
I have no idea. They should still be on their light bulb headed knees saying thank you for protecting us from Italy's invasion, but instead, they want to be enemies. So be it. So don't worry why we clap as you get deported. Don't worry about it. It's going to stay that way. Let's leave it the way it is. If these people want to act up, I saw a lot of turnarounds from Mexicans recently saying that why should Black Americans do anything for us? They already stupidly voted for us to stay. It didn't work, and we voted more for them to not be deported than Mexicans did.
Right?
If we're being honest, they said it was around 60% for Mexicans voting for them to stay, and 80 to 90% for us voting. So all of these people, when we see the back end of them, will know why. There is nothing, I have nothing to do with them. You would never see Cambodians holding a space about Japanese people getting money or reparations. It's none of their business. They have manners. But unfortunately, people from that continent are tribal animals, savage, everything we were told to say they were not. They actually are those things. They don't have any home training. They don't have any manners. They don't have any morals. And that's why they just can't stop copying and parroting everything, opening up rooms, talking about what we're talking about. But of course, not to support it. Never saw an immigrant room supporting it, just going against it. So if that's the game, see something and go against it, I'm going to do that too. Whenever I see them, I'm going to go against whatever they're doing full throatedly.
That's it, Black Americans. I hope you heard it. We don't ever mean anybody harm. Matter of fact, we're in a fucked up situation because we've been so nice. Well, time out for that. We've actually fit the definition of nice. Look up the etymology of nice, but not no more. We're not being rude. We're not, you know, having no vitriol towards nobody. But it's time for us to look out for us. So when our money comes up, and it's inevitable at this point that our money's gonna come up, just never forget how these other groups acted with us, and
Yep.
let's not extend any olive branches. It's time out for that bullshit. But before we go any further, I want to make something clear that my spaces are nonviolent. I do not condone violence in any shape, form, or fashion. So this is a nonviolent space, and any discussion of violence will be, you will have to drop down. I say that in the light of the incidents that's been happening lately. But we're going to go to Agent
Wait,
Zero, and then Trade A.
Hey, what's going on, family? What's up, Professor? What's up, Nikki? What's up, Wani?
What's up, brother?
Um, Not much, man. So I would say personally to answer the question, uh, as far as the topic title of the room,
Hmm.
um, anytime anybody, any race of people, any group, any organization want to get something popping, they have to attach themselves to us because don't shit get popping unless we get it popping. Second off, with the president of Ethiopia, or the prime minister of Ethiopia, Tariq had a space, had a YouTube a broadcast the other day, and he was talking about the same thing. So he showed one video where the president or prime minister, whatever he is, of Ethiopia, was talking about, the Jews had the same issues that we did in America, blah blah blah. But then they got themselves together and they wasn't begging, and they took over entertainment and blah blah blah. It pretty much kind of like downing us. Then he showed another video of the same prime minister begging for reparations like this guy from Ghana is.
Wow.
So, there you have it.
Yeah, and
And,
they were using all of our talking points.
yep. Yep, that
Well,
was the
these
main
people
thing.
got two things. The Jews are white, and
Right,
they also got reparations and continue
right,
to get reparations and a full blown country.
right. And given the industry, well, multiple industries, the entertainment industry,
Exactly.
in a lot of major cities.
DEI.
Yes,
It's
right,
DEI for ugly people who don't have talent, but want to get behind people that do have talent. What
Facts.
right.
else are they going to do? They
And
all,
then,
that's their whole shtick, financing something, being behind something.
and if you notice too, all people, uh, Jewish and non-white, that come to this country that feel some kind of way about us, especially those that come from other countries that come to this country and feel some kind of way about us. They always have to come to us to make their money. We're the foundation of the money of all that money that they send back home and do other things with. Look at how it's Chinese restaurants in every black neighborhood. It's Arabs running the stores. It's Mexicans with tire shops. We ain't never been thrown that bonus, and yet we thrive. And I land my plane.
Koreans in the hair supply shop.
Right,
Hey,
right. Do you know? I don't know if I mentioned the other day, but after the Korean War, one of the main things that was instead of bringing Korean people here to America like they did with the Vietnamese, they kind of put a lot of regulations on black hair and black beauty care and whatnot because we were thriving off of that, and they took those industries and pretty much moved them to Korea, and that's why the black hair industry is pretty much controlled by Koreans right now to this day. And I'm sure it's funded. Some of that money was used to fund things that they have in technology like LG and Samsung and so forth, so forth.
wow.
And I land my plane.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Go ahead, Trade A. What's on your mind? Why are these people concerned about our goddamn money?
That's a good question. I can't really answer the question right now, but I had a question for you guys. I have two questions for y'all. The first question I want to ask you is, peace and blessings to the space first. First and foremost, the first question is, when when he's somebody say that black immigrants do better than black Americans, right? How would you necessarily combat that? Like, we're talking, what I mean, it's kind of easy to debunk, but like, what talking points would you say?
Well, I would combat it with some scholarship coming right out of Dr. Claude Anderson's Black Labor White Wealth, where he says, quote, today there is little cooperation, political or otherwise, between blacks and minority groups. For the most part, ethnic minorities do not support black causes. They have been getting a free ride at black people's expenses on civil rights and minority programs. As members of loosely formed political coalitions, they are mostly quiet while blacks agitate, but they are quick to stake their claim on affirmative action benefits won by blacks. That's what I would say. I would say they follow us around and wait till we do something and then jump in line, like the Jamaicans with Ethiopia. Um, and it's a tactic of war. It's my opinion that
Right.
immigration is warfare. That's what that is. Wanda, you were gonna
Right.
say something?
I was going to say, first of all, a lot of these people put out false statistics to make themselves feel good and to agitate us. It's part of something that they're doing, and probably powered by white people. They're not doing better than anybody else. That's just fake. They're all on welfare. The facts are they're on welfare. They have very poor paying jobs. They have street jobs. Even when you look at them overseas, they're laying in the street, turning tricks, selling you junk you don't want. They're a public menace, homeless, in fact. These people are not doing better than us. That's number one. That's a lie that they've been pushing. Number two, the ones that are doing well have come to this country, got scholarships, and they're on like charitable programs from places like what's that? I think it's Morgan State University
Right,
has had hundreds of these Nigerians come over here for medical training. They're being trained by Black American doctors. That's number one. They're coming here using our resources, getting our scholarships, and getting preferential treatment
right,
to get into school. Not only that, there is an effort by them to push us back. So when they do get into positions of power, they make sure that we fail or that we get fired or that we don't get hired or something They're really a menace, and I'm glad they're being kicked the hell up out of here.
I'm about to identify their warfare for my people, for foundational Black Americans in a moment. So y'all go ahead and get a pen and paper out. I'm gonna give you the game, step by step, the tactic of war that's used on us.
Definitely.
But what I wanted to, when Wani was so eloquently speaking on that, I thought about Sheila Jackson Lee's ass. You know what I'm saying? No ill speak on the dead, but she fucked over my people. So right back at her. When I was at studying at Georgetown University, I was mentored by briefly by our dear brother Marion Barry, and I went to some of those meetings for the Congressional Black Caucus, and I saw with my own 20-something-year-old eyes her sit up there pretending like she was concerned about Ray Nagin. This was a couple years after the mess that was Hurricane Katrina. Ray Nagin was the mayor of New Orleans, and he was up there about to start crying, begging the Congressional Black Caucus for help. And I saw her give a goddamn performance and do absolutely nothing for his ass. But I bet you she gave money to wherever her people was from, Jamaica or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's time now that we look and help each other. It's okay to gatekeep. Everybody else gatekeeps but us. And a lot of these institutions were created for us. I am a product and a professor of the historically black college system. The historical black college system is the ones who certified me as a real professor. That's a fact. And I witnessed as a professor um, members of the diaspora come up in our system and gatekeep the real high paying jobs. We didn't have an engineering program, but we had pre med. They gatekeep biology, biochem, chemistry, and physics, the classes you need to go to medical school. And they get these professors up in here. Some of these goddamn professors were lying about their credentials, had fake PhDs and shit. Why do we let this happen? Why are we ashamed to gatekeep the schools that were created for us? Historically black colleges belong to us. And last thing I'm gonna say is this whole statistic. I've had it with this statistic thing. If you see Diane Yap or somebody talking statistics, somebody summon me. Because I'll tell you one thing I learned as an administrator working for Congress. Hello, on a research grant. I learned there are three types of lies. Lies, goddamn lies, and statistics. Don't believe no statistics.
Well, one thing about Diane Yap, I can't imagine a person from Asian ancestry cracking their mouth open to say anything about anything. They're over here, they form gangs, they have massage parlors, they have outright straight up prostitution. They literally had mattresses in the street in Flushing, New York. They have trashed every place they've lived. So, yeah, they need to go back to their little Chinatown and do it behind closed doors because but when they're not behind closed doors, they're doing every manner of thing. It's unbelievable.
Wani, that's funny to me because me and the lady were driving downtown. We went to eat Valentine's Day at this really nice place. It was really amazing. But we went to eat kind of late. It's like 11. There's a place in Atlanta, and it's kind of like VIP. It was dope. And we were driving down a street, and I don't know Atlanta that well yet, but we were driving down a street in downtown Atlanta, going on 12, and it was a whole string of massage parlors open. She's like, "Why in the hell would you need a massage at 12 a.m.? Open, 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 open.
It was like a line of them.
A fucking line. It's a street of massage
Oh, so
parlors,
it's just a red light district of them.
but I thought that's
They're
illegal.
like straight. No, their
They
whole
get away with
culture
that
is
shit.
that they
Yeah,
have. That's their culture. Okay, it is
But
th-
they, but
geisha
they,
and they get
girls.
away with it. They
but
don't get punished for it.
but
Right.
they bust little Jamal for having some weed in his pocket though.
Right. And they run little kids through there too. And they have a whole thing of dressing little boys up like girls that they're bringing over here too.
My God.
That was like over in Asia only or
Uh,
over in Afghanistan. But now we're starting to see that, yeah, they're bringing all of their tricks.
Outrageous, man.
Let me tell you, I was getting a pedicure with my man a few years ago, and this woman start trying to advertise that she was trying to sell him sex while we were getting a pedicure. They gives no fucks. They do it outwardly because they don't. If I would have called the cops on them, they wouldn't have went to jail for that. They're just getting away with those having those massage parlors because I don't know what it is, but for some reason they let them get away with it. They don't get deported for it. Hopefully the law changes now that we have the new president. But from what I've seen in the past, they've been getting away with this massage parlor shit for years.
Well, it's the love you long time and type of thing. They've made a joke out of it, but it's because they're just having sex with a bunch of white loser men who are not going to get them in trouble. They're going to go. They have mug shots. They have tons and tons and tons and tons of their faces, and it all looks like the same face. You're not going to recognize. They don't care if you take their mug shot because you're never going to recognize them because they all look just like the same one. They have tons, hundreds, thousands of mug shots of them. They get arrested in bulk, like Costco, but they just get right out and do it again.
Yeah, and, somebody said, "Why does that happen?" If you look in the jumbotron, you'll look at the hierarchy that, according to Dr. John, Claude Anderson, and I believe it myself, but that's what America was set up to be, a modified feudal system, wherein foundational Black Americans were supposed to be the peasant class at the bottom. What am I trying to say? You can't have a king without having a peasant. You also can't have a king without having a knight. So if you look back at the 1600s, you'll see the first wave of immigration um, from England, from Captain James Oglethorpe, sent the police. The police came from the fucking prisons of England, and the police created the slave patrols. What am I trying to say? I'm saying that we were identified first. The Native Americans were identified, but they couldn't hold up. Then, secondly, we were identified as the peasant class. So, how that ties into what Wani was saying? These people don't go to jail, even though they have fucking big old neon open signs. I mean, it was like, duh. Oh, I'm gonna go get a pedicure at 1 a.m. in Atlanta. Really? They don't get in trouble because that's not the narrative. The narrative is little Jamal walking down the street. He has to be doing something wrong. Little Jamal and little Shantae are doing something wrong. The other ones aren't doing wrong, even though they're doing wrong in your face. I was watching. I teach a section of con law, and an argument came up when we were looking at the the nation of law. Is America a nation of laws? Allegedly it is, but I brought up, I don't know if y'all heard of, god dang it, what's it called? uh oh man, I forgot the name of it. It escaped my mind, but there's a case. A little boy, Caucasian little boy, 14 years old, who was outrageously wealthy, got his truck with his drunk friends and plowed down six people, killed them, and he got off because the attorney said that he was too rich to know right from wrong. It's he they coined his psychologist coined a phrase that everybody knows. But we were talking about that, and
Affluenza.
affluenza. That's it, affluenza,
Oh,
affluenza. And one of my students was given the fact that that case is on the book. That's precedent. That if that that's an argument now that you can be too rich to know right from wrong. Therefore, you can get off, kind of from not knowing, like almost like an insanity plea in a way.
it's actually true, but I don't want them to get that. Okay. They do live in a bubble where they think they can get away with anything and daddy gets them out of everything. So they think, hey, it's going to extend everything. They actually are suffering from it, but they still should go to jail.
But
Okay.
yeah, that's true, Wani. But the issue was, uh, the the books say we live in a nation of laws where nobody's above the law. Well, affluenza. The question was, does affluenza prove that there are groups that are above the law? In my opinion, it does.
Yeah,
So
they are above the law.
right.
I mean, it's as silly as the Twinkie defense. I mean, if you know that Twinkies are causing sugar rushes, which everyone knows, you can't really use that as a defense.
Right, right. But
It's not the same thing, but yeah, people are above the law. If the judge is your cousin, um, and nobody knows it, you're not going to get in trouble. There's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to get you out of it. Even if you go to jail, you'll have a good time in jail. You'll get all your, the perks. everything you could get in jail, and somehow you'll get out. You'll get out the side way. You'll get out the side entrance.
Right. So Wani, the reason and that's very true, and thank you for bringing that up. The reason why I brought that up, we were talking about the caste system and how certain foundational Black Americans has been cast as the bad guys no matter what. Isabella Wilkerson called it scapegoating. It means we've been scapegoated. The reason why I brought that case up is because we were examining that case, the court's ruling on that case in my lecture, and I found the fucking video. The court had video on that young man who plowed down those six innocent people coming from church, for Christ's sake. Um, and the court had video of him and his friends. Now he's Caucasian, 14, 15, 14. They were all like 14 through 17. They went to that Walmart before then and stole all the liquor they drank, all the beer. And they went in there, you know what I'm saying, with ball caps on. They didn't have disguises. And they just walked to the beer section, grabbed all the beer, and just politely walked out. And nobody said a goddamn word. They didn't get arrested. Well, why? My question is, could Jamal and Shantae have done that? No, because the
No.
moment Shantae and Jamal walked up in there, they had eyes on them. So I'm using that to prove that we are in a caste system. We're in a system where Jamal and Shantae have been cast as the bad guy, and Brad and Melanie are not. They can go steal beer and then plow down six people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me throw this in there. Prop 47 was that you can go in a store and they can't call the police. You can steal up to 900 and some dollars. So white boys just took pillowcases in there to, make sure they could buy meth every day, and they stole a lot of stuff. And all the people did was get upset. But you didn't see any black men doing that. You didn't see anyone doing that but them, maybe a random woman. But they created that law because if they didn't, every white man would be in jail. You have no
Wow.
idea the criminal white boys out here in California. They're bums. They are beach bums. And they are doing beach bum things. Now they're crack-headed beach bums. And they don't want to put anyone in jail because they will let you murder somebody.
Wow.
I saw a murder get pled down to vandalism. Yeah,
Wow.
a murder. So yeah, they're not going to put him in jail. They're going to make up laws to keep him out of jail, and they're just going to not take your police report so that Brad won't go to jail.
Yeah, this shit is way serious, Black Americans. Black Americans, it is time out for all this against each other type attitude. Black males, it's time out for us being competitive with each other, and it's time out for that shit, man. My second year in law school, I used to want to be I wanted to be, I watched Law and Order and shit. I used to think I wanted to be a criminal trial lawyer until I had an internship with the Honorable Helen Shores Lee. May she rest in peace. And when I was in her court interning, I got to be proximal to I'm not gonna say this district attorney's name. He was white. I'm not gonna say his name. I was got to watch a grand jury where they select basically the grand jury was it's interesting. It was wholesale. They had like 10 cases, 10, 11 cases. And the grand jury got together. What grand juries do is decide on if they want to proceed with it or not, which they didn't tell me that in law school. I thought if you do a crime, the process goes forward. But anyway, you had like 11 people. Some of the crimes were actually severe, somebody mutilating a girlfriend, shootouts and stuff like that, but most of the crimes were of white people, right? So the term that this particular DA used, he would vote on bill, bill, or no bill, no bill. And bill means, yes, we're going to proceed with prosecuting this person. And no bill means they're going to let him go. I never knew that was possible. And I watched these mostly white jurors, and there were a couple old baby boomer black ones on there too, just basically no bill every white person who did. One white guy had mutilated his girlfriend and stuff, and they'd be like, okay, John, I'm making up a name, John Doe, mutilated his girlfriend, accused, indicted for stabbing his girlfriend multiple times and pouring gasoline on her, da 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 da. um can I get a vote? Bill or no bill? No bill, no bill. And the one we got that I watched get bill was a black dude that got in a shootout. I was like, oh my God, I'm watching white I'm watching white supremacy play out in my face. And what I'm gonna say that's not popular is those baby boomer black people were right in the system of white supremacy. I would see that again in the historical black college system amongst PhD baby boomer administrators helping Africans and Caribbeans getting to medical school, while some of my babies that some of them were older, some of my undergrads are older than me, but they still babies to me. But some of my babies who busted their ass from across the street from the projects across the street don't get gotta earn everything, you know what I'm saying, off their merits and don't get a helping hand. I'm sick and tired of it, ladies and gentlemen. We need our reparations. We need them now. And I don't want anybody else touching our fucking money. It's time that we gatekeep our stuff. We've been giving our stuff away for too long. And I'm gonna tell you why we've been doing it. I'm cussing us out today. The reason why we've been doing it is identified in Black Labor White Wealth, page 11. 11 is a really funny number, isn't it? He says, worst of all, slaves, that's us, that's who we used to be, were intentionally kept without hope. There it is. We were not allowed to have hope. And a slave's life was committed to producing wealth and comfort for white masters. Slaves suffered in silence. We were classically and operantly conditioned to live at the discretion of other people, and that's tragic enough. But what happened was fucking immigrants came over here and just slipped in the role of the English white supremacist. And what I'm not gonna let happen is a damn melanated immigrant come over here and try to play that white supremacy game on my people. So I'm identifying it in spaces and letting y'all know. I digress. Rob the Whip, what's on your mind, bro? Uh-oh, can y'all hear me?
Yes, I'm just waiting for them to come up.
I can hear you, sir.
Go ahead,
Sorry
Rob the
about
Whip.
What's going on, everybody? Y'all started early today, man. Woke up from the nap, saw y'all up in here, man.
No,
How's
we'll be back.
everybody?
Bro, we'll be back. I just had to address this shit because I just kept hearing echoes of people talking about reparations. I'm looking at them and then they ain't us. Seeing spaces where people talking about reparations and how it should be dished out, and they living in Canada, they ain't us. Like, what's it to you, man?
I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. From the non FBA look, it's jealousy, right? Because one, we're here in the we built the most privileged country on the planet, and so they other these other countries. I've been around the world. I'm what they call an East Coast sailor, right? So meaning I've been everywhere on the East Coast you could probably think of, from the Caucasus Mountains down to Africa and the Panama Canal. Been through there. I've been privileged to travel a lot because of the job I was in. But anyway, so I've seen how the other half live. We are privileged. Americans, really, a lot of people don't realize how privileged we have it, even though we have our issues at home compared to these other cultures, man. These older countries, man, the people go through it. If you're poor, you're super poor. If you're rich, you're rich. It's a fine. It's very little middle class, and the middle class is hard to tell a lot of times from the upper class. Getting back to what I was saying, so they're jealous of us because yeah, we're in the most privileged country and we influence the world and we have all this, and we've done that with very little. We've done it with a lot of opposition against us, and still we're here and we're still thriving and we're still better off. Our poor are better than their poor. You understand what I'm saying? Like, seriously. I've walked through the streets of Italy and had my hat almost stolen because some kid who was impoverished, man, little Italian kid, didn't have it like that. Like it's wild. You learn to appreciate where you come
But
from when you travel.
let me stop you right there, Rob the Whip, because I never I haven't been to Europe. I've been across the world, but I haven't explored Europe like I would like to. But my daddy was an East Coast sailor, and he was naval intelligence. And it's some maybe that's y'all route or something. He got stationed in Italy for a minute, and he said the same thing. He said the moment, Dad said the moment he got off the boat for shore leave, a lady tried to offer him some poontang, like lifted up her skirt when he walked off the dress. He's like, man, what the hell? Like,
An Italian woman.
yeah, an Italian woman.
Why do
Yeah,
they have such a prostitution issue over there? I don't understand it.
Man, I'm gonna say this, bro. We gonna keep it 100.
keep it 100.
I'm serious, and no disrespect to anybody. I'm just telling you what it is. Italy, I'm telling you, are real uh perverse, bro. Like we pull this, like
Wow.
I've been all through Italy, Trieste, Italy, Naples, Italy, the Modena, Italy. I've been to uh, Sicily. You know what I mean? I've been to Rome. I've been all over, and like Italy's is dirty one. Like Trieste was pretty clean. It was all right, but it was very cold. But getting back, it's a lot of perversion over there. These older countries, they're really, I'm telling you, Greece, very perverse, man. Like the stuff that you see here, they brought a lot of that in their culture over here, and it's like literally,
Right.
it's like crazy. Like I was like, yo, this shit is wild over here. And this is
Why
when
do
I'm
you
like,
think?
this is when I'm like,
What's the deal with the? Can you expound just a little bit? I don't want to take us off track. Can you expound on what's going on in Italy because they have these nasty African prostitutes laying on mattresses and. I was over there a short time, and in that short time, there was a white prostitute arguing with a pimp on the street in front of all the tourists, and I'm like, what are you doing?
a lot of a
What is
lot of
the problem there?
a lot of that. See, that's the subculture over there because the economy's in the trash. It's been like that for some
Yeah,
time. So
it is.
so those people over there, a lot of them that come from these foreign countries, these other countries, again, their poor is different from the poor of the country that they've come to. So you got the Africans competing with the ones that are already there. You got the Middle Eastern women that are competing with the ones that are there, and then you have traffickers, sex traffickers, aka pimps, right, that are capitalizing on that shit, and that's on the mob. Don't forget the mob run Italy. The mob run a lot of stuff, organized crime over there. So it's going to go. That's more money for them. That's a lot of that's organized crime. So at the lower end, people just trying to get money. The higher end, that money gets pushed up to whoever's running that part of I guess Italy or that town that you saw that you were in. Organized crime is serious though.
That was Venice, and it's so small
Yeah, man,
to have them, standing right where the souvenir booths are, screaming and having a fight. Ugh,
it's
and
wild
I
over
don't even
there.
speak Italian, and I know what they're doing.
But
Wow.
to finish up the line of plane, on the other half, we as a people are not. I don't know if you read what I put in your box last night, but the
No,
only
I haven't got around to it yet. I'm coming to it though.
the only thing what I was saying here, thanks, babe. What I was saying yesterday, it kind of ties in with what you're talking about today on the other end, like why they're holding these spaces on reparations because if the whole world's watching us like they always do, the whole world's
Mm-hmm.
watching us, and if we get you got to think of what I just said. We are the most creative people and influential people on the planet. God's got His hand on us. He always has. I'm saying for whatever reason, God has always had His hand on us, man. As a people, in spite of ourselves, and in spite of some of the bad things we've done, but as a whole, we are still here. Look at what our ancestors and we went through: slavery,
What did we
Jim
do that
Crow
was
laws,
bad?
crack.
I just want to know.
Say again.
What did we do that was bad,
It's
in your
it's
opinion?
it's what do we do? I'm just saying, like, till we know if you're a Christian in the eyes of God, you know what I mean? Like, even as sinners, we as sinners, He still
Is there
blessed
any
us.
person, is there any group on earth that doesn't have
Right, that's what I'm
some
saying. But I'm saying that's
part of
that's
a crime? Just asking.
no man is not of sin. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, in spite of even if we're not, God fearing people, people don't believe in God or whatever, atheists or whatever, He's still been blessing us. We've always had God's hand on us. So what's going to happen if they give we get this money? Not they, you know what I'm saying? When we get this money, it's not if, it's when we get this money. You give the most influential, creative, blessed people on the planet their fair shake, man, they are scared to death. They're scared to death that we'll be put in a position that we're going to do to them what they did to us. They're going to put it. Uh, um, they're scared we're going to put ourselves in a position that not only have we influenced the planet on a lower level where they try to deny it, right? Because it's very apparent we do, but then they can't stop us. They won't be able to stop us no matter what. They won't be able to stop us because we'll have the finances as a group. Like our ancestors built these black communities that were flourishing back in the day, and they had to come burn it down. And that was before the internet. So if they do something like that, now the whole world's watching, literally from somebody's phone. So they're so it's a lot of fear. It's a lot of It's a lot of jealousy, hate, and envy. That's what that is, man. And then now we've delineated, like they're like now they're not talking that unity shit. Like they kind of woke up. What the fuck? Now we got to sabotage this shit. How can we sabotage this shit? How can we keep this shit from happening? So they in panic mode, a lot of them. You know, so that's what it all amounts to, man. It's just we just the only thing we can do is like I said, start planning, like get on something offensive. Like right now, we're talking about it, you know, and from a tactical aspect, we need to start striking, man. Start implementing stuff. Like you know what, whatever think groups we're talking about getting together, start doing that shit. Putting in the paperwork to start taking our stuff to court and start getting the ball rolling because, like I was saying last night, Elon Musk people are coming. I'm gonna tell you that I didn't want to say it over the phone, but fuck it, I'm gonna just get into it. This is some intel, common sense. When them Germans got here after World War II, and they brought them over here, they brought them over here for a reason to help advance the scientific and advancements and stuff. Their kids, their children are now in political power, have been since then. Their grandkids, their great grandkids, whatever. And these are the people that's been running the country, that's been making laws in favor of themselves. It's been a constant thing. That's why a lot of this bullshit has been going on with the homosexual stuff because they brought that shit from the older countries, from over there in Germany, from over there in just the Caucasus Mountains period over there. You know, that's their culture, like we were just talking about, from Italy, from Greece. So you get these people coming from South Africa with this ideology, and they have their own way of treating black folks. We ain't the same. I'm a fighter. I'll fuck a motherfucker up. However, comma, their kids, they're going to be naturalized when they get here because that man has the financial backing and the ear of the president. So then those people can run for office, or their grandkids can run for office, and they'll be put in positions of power to make laws and change laws in their favor, which is going to be against us. And if we're not already there financially and politically, we're fucked as a people. And that's what I've been trying to say. Fuck
That's
this.
I understand what you're saying, but versus who? Who are we trying to get into to power? Maxine Waters? I mean, these people are worse than the goddamn Nazis because they don't look like Nazis. So we have to try harder to figure out who's doing what. See, that's the problem. Everybody in politics is against everybody. They're apparently they're all against the people, the regular people. Nobody likes it. How many white people don't like what's going on? Have you ever spoken to a white person? They don't like anything.
Yeah, I
This is
understand.
the
I
this
understand.
is the
But
first time that we've all collectively said yes. We don't want any more immigrants. Get them out of here. We have
absolutely.
collectively said something, and we actually saw something being done because for years, decades, both sides have sat there and not liked things and have tried to form these parties, whether they be the what was that one? The Sarah Palin group.
The Tea Party.
Yeah, tea parties and MAGA, all of that is telling you that they don't like the way the country's going. So, them putting people, they've been putting people in office, and it doesn't benefit the masses. It benefits the same rich people that want to benefit themselves. That's why we had to spend billions of dollars on transgender mice. Now that we know that we're dealing with lunatics that do not care about the general public.
Well,
Hmm.
to land my plane, I'm gonna say this: we need to get on a chessboard because we have very little uh, FBAs in positions that can make changes. Meaning governors, senators, mayors. It's a lot of tethers. It's a lot of alphabet community people that have their special interests that they're getting paid from there, but none of us. You know, man, very few of us that are in positions of political power that can really induce change and affect us as a community. So instead of getting our children into sports, start kind of pushing your kids to stay home and run for Congress or city manager or mayor or governor, you know, or a head of board of education and stuff like that. Just need to get into politics, man. That's where the real power, political power is at, man. Is in politics, and I'm gonna land my plan with that.
Yeah,
That's
Dr.
actually
Claude.
a great
Go ahead.
idea.
Yeah, it is. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about that in Powernomics. Um, But before we can get into politics, we need to have from the grassroots. We need to be able to pay our politicians. We need to somehow find a mechanism to pay for these campaigns. Because what happens is corporate interests will pay. Let's say I ran for Senate. It costs a lot of money to run for Senate. It's big money. You know, you need advertisement, you need committees, all that. So corporate interests will say, okay, well, I'll support you. And they'll pay millions of dollars for me to win. And when I win, do you think I owe them something? Yes, I do. A lot of our politicians are caught up under that mantra. Man, you know, I was telling my students something so fucking interesting because that's really I teach history. When you boil it down, I'm a social scientist, but I teach history. But when you look at history, you see a pattern. Like there are several presidents who were not beholden to the system. Barack Obama had to borrow money from all these folk to run for office. Don't you think they had him on strings? You know what I'm saying? You name it, the president's on strings. But when you look at the presidents who really weren't on strings, look at what happened to him. John Fitzgerald Kennedy's dad was a fucking dope dealer. I'm not gonna say he sold liquor or call him a bootlegger, because to me that's too nice of a term. Back then, liquor was illegal, just like crack. Therefore, he was a fucking dope dealer. So JFK's daddy was a big time kingpin dope dealer, and JFK's daddy was a billionaire. He could afford to help his son run for office, which is what he wanted his son to do. I'm saying that to say JFK was not necessarily beholden to these corporate interests because he had daddy to pay for it. That made him a little bit more free as a as a politician, as a president. He was free to do what he want because he didn't owe nobody nothing, and he did what he want. Y'all saw what happened. Oh man, I wonder. I'm not laughing at his assassination, but do you see that pattern a lot with politicians that aren't beholden? We need our own politicians that are paid for by us. You know what I'm saying? Like the shoe, for us by us. That. Well, I wanted to identify Rule 32 to show you how the system of white supremacy works. 'Cause since we brought it up for a second, because it's kind of unrelated to the title, but I thought it'd be very interesting for you guys who are taking notes. I'm reading Rules of War because, like Neely Fuller said, we're in a war. May he rest in peace. Rule 32: dominate while seeming to submit. The passive aggression strategy. That's the system of white supremacy. It's passive aggressive, and this is gonna strike home to some of y'all. Um, Under Rule 32, it says, "quote In a world where political considerations are paramount, the most effective form of aggression is the best hidden one. Aggression behind a complaint, even loving exterior." Right? To follow passive aggression strategy, you must seem to go along with people, offering no resistance, but actually you dominate the situation. Just make sure you have disguised your aggression enough that you can deny that it exists. Don't that sound like the system of white supremacy? I love you. My best friend's black. Just straight up destroying your whole community behind your back, but I digress. All right. Why do people who are not entitled to reparation hold spaces on our shit? Um I did a poll on it, and overwhelmingly, let me pull up my poll. Yeah. Um, wow. So 52% said hate and jealousy, and 42% said to get unearned benefits. So, given the fact I thought unearned benefits would be number one, but it's second place. What do y'all think of the possibility? Do you think it's a possibility that these I don't want to use the word. Let me be careful with my words. These immigrant groups could crowbar their way into a reparations claim, or it just ain't gonna
No,
happen.
it's impossible. You might
Okay.
have one cheater here and there, but the way that genealogy paperwork goes, you just have to steal somebody's paperwork and say that it's you, but you can't be from Africa and say that you are from here. In what sense do you mean? Give me an example, because I hear the same people saying, "Oh, white people are going to say they're black." Yet you don't know how it goes. You don't know how this goes.
Eh,
No, they cannot. If they have identified, okay, let me give you an example.
Okay.
Technically, Obama is a freedman. Technically, you know
Okay.
why?
No.
Okay.
That kind of irked me, but go ahead.
Okay.
So who can
Because,
all say they're a freedman? Who can all
That's
say
really
they're
what
a
I'm
freedman?
asking.
okay, so because of this, His white side of the family is related to John Punch, who was a slave. And so his mother is not full white. She's white. She identifies as white. Her parents do, and further back. They have been white this whole time on the census. So they can't now come and say, oh, I'm black. Look at this distant ancestor. It doesn't work like that. Her paperwork is white on that side, and it doesn't matter whether she's technically, related to a freedman. Now, his father is from Kenya, so he has nothing to do with it. Does that make sense? Obama cannot apply to get reparations.
Okay, I'm just making sure because that's
You
not
have
my
to you have to identify. You have to be identify as black. So people, we were even discussing the fact that some people decided that they were going to put mixed on their paperwork. That might be a problem in terms of it depends on what they decide for the criteria. But as long as your paperwork says mulatto, colored, all of these things are different kinds of black
Oh,
and
got it.
subject to enslavement. Uh, Anybody who was subject to enslavement, say you do your genealogy, you don't find any enslaved family members, doesn't matter. If you were a free black individual living in the North with your paperwork, you were still subject to be enslaved and had to be emancipated right along with the slaves, and all of them became freedmen. So those free people of color became freedmen on the same day that the slaves became freedmen.
Mm,
Makes sense.
that makes sense because and I never really raised my hand to get clarity on that. Genealogy is not my area of expertise. But that now that makes sense because the majority of the people that took the poll said it's just hate and jealousy. So they're right. It's just they know they're not going to get it, so they're trying to hate on it.
That meant get a bag meant that they think they can get reparations. Oh no, they can't get reparations. These people are coming over here with a big stamp. You have no idea how they are labeled. Even when I was doing people's genealogy, it would show a Haitian on the genealogy back in the 1800s, but it said birthplace Haiti in big letters. So we still know you're Haitian, no matter what, no matter what they do. If their grandparents have a big, this person is from Haiti on there, you're not a freedman.
Got it.
If you did not amalgamate within those years, if you came after 1865 and all that criteria, you can't claim anything. You are from a foreign country.
Love it. Love it. Appreciate it, Wani. Thank you for educating me on that issue. The black. What's on your mind?
What's going on, Professor? Nikki, Warner, everybody in the space. Hope everybody having a blessed day on this Monday. Uh, to answer your question that in the poll, I chose the same thing. These motherfuckers just jealous and hating because they know damn well they can't slither their waist into our shit. Most of these people ain't come here until after 1965, and the ones that did come, the few handful that did come, like during the New Negro movement and right after the Civil War, they can't have no claim either. So what one has said is just really just reassuring that to me, in my eyes, that they really just doing this shit to hate and try to derail it as much as they can, because it does seem like everybody is so up in arms about it that Trump or just any president after that might have a possibility of saying, "Yeah, go and get these niggas they paper, so we can, so we can stop getting them to hating us." And that's really what it is, because we are more appreciative of our heritage and our American patriotism, and these foreigners they really upset about that. Like, they out here boohooing, and it's very entertaining to me. uh, I hate the fact that they always making these rooms, but we all know that on Twitter, the algorithm ain't gonna give you no type of love unless you put FBA in the title, or you know what I'm saying. You try to target us, and we come in and just go down y'all throat and tell y'all what it really is. So yeah, these people just looking for engagement because them X bucks is drying up and them YouTube dollars ain't coming in as it used to because they hold no validity. They hold no value when it comes down to these conversations. So all they can do is bash and try to throw as much salt as they can, but they just don't know. We come from a long history of high cholesterol, so we are somewhat kind of used to it a little bit. So it is what it is. Fat meat is greasy, and they fist to find out.
Mm. You brought up a really good point. That kind of gave me a little clarity that maybe they're just they're just using our name because it's like clickbait. Like people pay attention to us. Isn't that crazy? They tethering on a name. Tethering on reparations because people want to see what we're doing, and then
Yeah,
you click on it, and it's somebody in there from Ethiopia talking about it. But she really just did that to get attention. Isn't
because
that amazing?
how could she get attention? How could she, with a light bulb head and a high pitched, annoying voice? I already know what she sounds like. I didn't hear her. I already know what they sound like. So they don't have any originality. Check it out. What is she gonna do to get anybody? She'd have to show her entire ass just to get us to look 5 minutes before we run off into the night. She has nothing to talk about.
You talking about Skeletor?
Did she
Cause her
look like
face
that?
is sunken in. I'm just saying. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I got the clarity that I see. Why do people who are not entitled to reparations hold faces on our goddamn money for attention?
No.
Period.
Anybody else want to ask questions about whether Liberians would be eligible, whether Nova Scotians, and we can break down maybe, maybe not. I don't know. If you have a Nova Scotian that can prove that they were on the census, perhaps they could apply. But what are the odds of that happening? Probably not. They probably won't be able to. They might, and I wouldn't get mad about it. I wouldn't lose sleep if a Nova Scotian with that lineage that went on the Underground Railroad applied and got it. I would not lose my mind. However, I don't like the idea of a Liberian getting it because Liberia is your reparations. You chose door one. That wasn't a good door. That's your problem. You already got reparations. It's called a whole country. You were the ruling class of that country, and now the little handful of them that, by the way, it's only a tiny amount of them over there. The other groups are in the millions. Um, it's they're a minority, but they're still a ruling class mentality. So they have been living over there as a ruling class attitude toward these other people. You already got your reparations. You're not on the bottom in that dump. You got a country. It was balling for a time. So you don't, why do you need reparations? Even if they do come up with some paperwork or some document or something saying that their great 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 was over here, they shouldn't get anything. They might, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, very well put, Wani. I've never seen 69 cent free. What's it say? 69 cent freedom. That picture's hilarious. What's on your mind? 69 cent. I can't hear you,
No
bro.
headset problems. You
Yeah,
know,
get.
some of these headsets that people are wearing,
Peace.
those
Can
are
you hear me?
brand new, top of the line headsets, by the way, and they
Can
sound
you hear
like
me
that.
now?
Go ahead.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. I can.
Oh, okay. All right. There it goes. Oh, well. No, I've been in the space for a while. Usually, I listen on what is it called, like hidden listener or whatever that is. But I appreciate everything that y'all share, and definitely have expanded my mind quite a bit. I've learned so much. So I can't thank y'all enough for the professor, you know, and Nikki God and Sister Wani. So I just wanted to pop in real quick and share something I put in the purple pill that I think we're going to be okay with. But y'all mentioned something about how people can kind of mix up their racial classification. And what I posted down there is something that's real interesting. kind of ties into some of what's been happening to us. Is this it's a real kind of Satanist sort of Illuminati spell. It's not by chance what's happened to us, all the trickery. But if you look at language in linguistics, the three participle verb, the be, and the c or k. If you look down there, it shows that before 1828, if you look at the Noah Webster Dictionary, before it became Merriam Webster, the word black actually used to mean white. It actually used to mean white, and it follows through in other languages too. So if you go to like French, it'll be like blanche, same three participle verb, bl, and a c. So BLANCHE means white. Old
Yeah,
French
we're
block.
dealing we're dealing with a reversal, but that's kind of a whole. We'll have a space on that coming soon.
Hmm.
What are your ideas on reparations? What do you think of? Do you think why do you think people who are not entitled to reparations hold spaces and fucking conferences on our reparations? Why are they talk? Why are they even keeping us in the lexicon when it has nothing to do with them?
Oh, cause we got the juice. They see this shit is popping. This shit is moving. They see Trump is kicking motherfuckers out. Excuse my language. He's keeping he's only honoring Black History Month. He said that we built this country. We never got the respect that and recognition that we deserve. They see it coming. They see it shaking and
Mm-hmm.
moving. They saw. Matter of fact, this is the other thing. They saw about the 13th, no, 14th Amendment, and they saw the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was a global event. The Super Bowl was a global event, and we thwarted Kamala. Um, I was so glad that the sister Vicky Dillard pulled that video up because I had it saved a while ago with Joe Biden saying, basically a big fu to um, what's his name? Um, what's that guy who I can't think of his name. He got like the slick back hair that he was wearing.
Oh, Al
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 Sharpton.
Sharpton.
Sharpton. That he got from yeah. So he told Al Sharpton basically we don't care. Um, Hispanics are gonna out outpopulate you, and we didn't know that they was gonna bring them in like they did, but we thought they was just gonna be popping out kids like popcorn. But so we thwarted that. But that Super Bowl is really it. They really saw. They're like, oh snap, the
Mm.
Super
It was
Bowl
like
was the symbol and us shining high on the lamp or the fire like it's supposed to be. What do you call it with the on Ellis Island? We got our statue there,
the Statue of
Statue of
Liberty.
Liberty. That's basically we saying we are America. This is us. We are everything that's good and bad, but we it. You know what I mean? And the Republicans was created uh, by abolitionists. So if the smart people really know what's going on, so they trying to get in line, and they trying to take our benefits and cosplay. They're trying to do everything they can to get in front of what's about to happen for us, and that's why I've been trying my best in different ways where I get little sparks of um, wisdom to kind of pass messages along. Some of our people don't know that this whole subdivisions, there's whole neighborhoods that you can buy. That this, if you just Google search online, hell, you
Wow.
can buy a church. There's churches that are in distress, so you can
Send
buy.
it over to. Do you see any? Do you
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
list?
bro, send that over to us. This is
We
good
might
stuff.
want. We may want to buy a dilapidated neighborhood and fix it up
Oh yeah, okay. I'll
About
put I'll put it down
as a
there.
group.
But you can even start with just buying a non for profit. And what's good about it is it
Mhm.
already structured. You know what I mean? Or if you buy a church organization, it already has its tax exempt status. All you got to do is just change
Oh, you mean
the
just take
letterhead.
over? You take over the church already established business? Is that what you're
Yes,
right.
saying?
ma'am. So it's nothing wrong with building it from scratch, but sometimes we got crab in the barrels that'll fight each other. If you can just take over, this listing services for churches, and what's good about that is,
Bro, send it that my way. That's good stuff. Actually, believe it or not.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
well,
I'm
it,
very
it serves
interested.
it serves for a purpose because we need a lot of reinvestment and rehabilitation. That's part of the repair, but it's important
Mm.
that we actually work on our own neighborhoods. I used to be a truck driver, and I heard
Okay.
the brother talking about traveling all in Europe. And there's some poor places in Europe that they hide, but I've been to every state except for Vermont in the contiguous United States a minimum of 22 times truck driving, like over 2 million miles. And it broke my heart to see that in every damn city there was homeless black people. That shit really pissed me off.
Well, well, now I'm not going to tell my ideas on, but I want to do a study on that, and I've seen the same thing, bro. I worked at Smithsonian in D.C. and I was walking. Me and the girl I used to mess with back then. We used to go to Georgetown and drink at it's a bar in Georgetown called the Tombs. It's really nice. It's at Georgetown University, but it's at the very end of that street, M Street in Georgetown, the main street. And I just noticed it dawned on black people don't really live in Georgetown. Like a very rich, select few do, but Georgetown's lily white and full of senators. And but anyway, it just dawned on me one day. I had that experience, like walking down M Street with this girl. I was like, damn, why every black person in George? Why is every homeless person in Georgetown black when this isn't even a black jurisdiction? But yet somebody needs to do something about that. Somebody needs um to bring that to our attention that so many foundational black Americans are homeless. I recently moved to Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I'm from a town not far from Atlanta. So I grew up in the early 2000s, late 90s when I was a kid, coming to the underground, going to Six Flags. And Atlanta was full of a bunch of foundational black Americans. But now I'm seeing Atlanta is full of others, diasporic groups and foreigners. And I be damned, I've been doing like a little personal study on the homeless people in Atlanta. I want to say from my little anecdotal experience, the majority of homeless people I encounter in Atlanta are foundational black Americans, and that shit is not okay.
It
You know what I'm
is.
saying?
It's terrible. But what we can do is rehabilitate ourselves. There's a catharsis and the altruism that you get from being able to repair something, and the ownership that it'll lessen some of the, in some neighborhoods, it's not all, I'm not saying that, but in some neighborhoods you see where people throw stuff on the ground or things are dilapidated or abandoned. That pride that we have to see, I got, most of us got pictures of our relatives, and they dressed to the nines, they looking good. And those old pictures, those people were straight laced, uh shirts tucked in, no sagging and all that. They look good, you know and they were very prideful of themselves. And us being able to own those nonprofits and charitable organizations, and bringing that charity home. Charity starts at home. Owning those organizations, it has that benefit for self ethnic pride. But also, what's good about it is you get things like parsonage. Parsonage is one of the things, and Raphael Warnock. I live in Georgia, so you'll notice, Professor, Raphael Warnock. They tried to come at him because he's over at Ebenezer, and he has parsonage. Now they don't
Mm.
bother anybody else, but parsonage is what certain higher level members or members of the church can be granted from the church.
Do me a favor, bro, because this is important information, and I forget what you said. Do me a favor. I'm gonna move on to the next speaker,
Okay.
but DM me all that stuff because that's really good stuff. But I am gonna make one comment off what you said. That books didn't teach me. I learned in the spaces from Wani to Tariq Nasheed. What really just clicked with me, you mentioned how the old folk used to be dressed to the T's, wearing suits and ties, and the ladies used to be dressing, in dresses and, pretty. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, so we really had that culture. And I used to always wonder what happened. And in my little childish mind, I attributed that change of attire to gang warfare because I'm a 80s baby. I kind of came up in the 90s, early 2000s when gangs popped out. But what's brought my attention, it wasn't us that changed the culture. It was fucking foreigners. Luke. I remember when Luke dropped and Luke changed music. If those of you old enough to remember, you remember we was rocking Boys to Men and shit, like corny stuff, all excited about a dance with a lady, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, we're gonna go to the dance. And Luke brought all that debauchery, and all these foreigners brought all this shit in here, which is further reason for delineation. But
I
I appreciate
remember the white boy wanted casual Friday, and created hair products to make their hair look messed up and just basically became bummy. It was
Right,
like the hippie movement. The hippie movement tore down everything. And then it was, they did a little fight back with the yuppie movement. And
right.
then it ended up being a bunch of slobs.
We've all this gets me in trouble for saying this, but I've always been kind of reserved about saying it when I was a little bit younger, but now I'm screaming from the mountaintops because it's true. Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, have always kind of leaned on the conservative side. We've never been liberal Democrats. And I don't want to waste this space on this, or maybe I have a whole space talking about Woodrow Wilson. But Woodrow Wilson tricked us into joining the Democratic Party. And from my scholarly research, the Democratic Party has been a party for immigrants. Now, the problem with that is the Black American is a non-immigrant. I would say we're the only non-immigrant, so that shit do not apply to us. You understand? Who was next? Jimmy James. I don't know if I had you up before. I'm glad you're here. What's on your mind?
Oh,
Oh man,
Professor, I'm
appreciate it.
sorry. I don't have a way to send you a message.
Oh, let me follow you back. I'm gonna follow you back.
Okay, I'm gonna send that right over to you. Appreciate it.
I,
Peace.
I just followed you back, bro. Go ahead, Jimmy James.
Yeah, appreciate it. Respect to y'all. Uh, I just think that the problem with people having to say about our reparations is it's got a lot to do with what the problem is. Like y'all and Tariq Nasheed are good at one thing. Y'all identified the problem. Then the problem became they're realizing that they are the problem. And then next after that is they know that the reparations money will help y'all solve the problem. And I land with that.
Yeah, but that's the process. It's we call it in the world of education we call it taxonomy or language function. So it's a step. First you identify, then you define. So once you identify, what's that? What the hell is that? That's identify. Define is all right. Let's define what it is, and that right there, step two, definition, is where the white system of white supremacy has been crippling us. I might hold a space on this for a select group, few group of people, but a definition. Once you identify, you can define. So when you look at a black person, right? You say, okay, well, what is? There goes Professor Alan. What is he? Okay, well, let me define him. He's chocolate, so he must be a monster. Monsters are here to get us. You see that power of definition? But after you define, you analyze. After you analyze, you judge. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole step to you once you no, after you analyze, you create. Once you create, you have a product, you judge it. So it's a whole process to how you think about stuff like this that we were never taught. Maybe that's why I'm here to let y'all know. But you're right, identify is critical, and that's where we are. And I'm very proud to say that after we have identified the problem, um uh and we didn't identify shit. Let me be straight with that. The people who identified the problem are no longer here. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing identified the problem.
Good point.
Dr. Amos Wilson identified the problem. You know what I'm saying? Dr. John Henry Clark helped to identify the problem.
So
Um,
we
Go ahead.
got a we got an unexpected thing though, because when we identified the problem and we said, oh, we need to delineate, we need to identify who isn't us and why these people keep going against us. When we did that, these people lost their minds. I mean,
Very true.
when you say something about talking about, check this out, talking about reparations, here's one of the craziest things that I heard. A bunch of Afro Latinas decided to get involved with our OMB designation. Now, Latinos have nothing to do with that designation. They're Hispanic. They check the Hispanic box. So we're talking about people that are not even affected by what we're talking about. We're talking about Caribbeans, Africans, and Black Americans not being linked together on the census, correct?
Right.
Okay, so these Afro Latinas all got together and had a secret meeting to discuss the OMB and how they have to thwart it, fight it, and we weren't invited to come in. If this was a live meeting and they banned Black Americans from attending it, so foreigners Afro Latinos could discuss it. And when I cussed them out, they said, well, the light skinned Latinos treat us bad. I don't give a fuck whether you get treated bad. Are you out of your mind? It
Don't
has
have
nothing
shit
to
to do with
do
us,
with
right?
us. And furthermore, you're just highlighting the fact that you're feckless imbeciles that never had any kind of civil rights movement against those people. How can you have a civil rights movement against the lighter skinned people on those islands and in South America when you want to be them? You're not going to fight something you aspire to be.
Right. You're going to amalgamate with it, which is the problem we see in South and Central America. What's it called? Meta La Raza? I might be saying it wrong.
Yeah, I forget how to say it.
Whatever you
I think
say
it's
it.
La Raza, something.
Right. But I want to say that identify. I'm very proud of us. We've learned a lesson. The lesson that we've learned as FBAs is we need to reach back to standing on the shoulder of giants. If you stand on the shoulder of giants, you can see further ahead. We've reached back to people who've always done the work. We've stopped recreating that damn wheel. What do I mean? We reach back to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. John Henry Clark, um, uh, the list goes on and on, even brothers who are still alive, like Dr. Claude Anderson. And we said, well, what can they teach us? I think my brother Tariq Nasheed did that. He said, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Claude Anderson has a great idea. Let me push it a little bit further. But my point is the first step is to identify. The second step is define. So Dr. Claude Anderson and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, they identified the issue. And what do? We defined ourselves, foundational Black Americans.
Hey, one more thing, and I'm gonna go.
Go ahead.
Uh, if people want to know what we gonna do so bad with the money, because I listen to y'all spaces a lot, and they always ask Tariq, what y'all gonna do? I just tell them this: look, Hidden Colors chapter two. No, Hidden Colors two chapter four. Claude Anderson said what to do. That 5-story building, even though he only got to the fourth floor. That's all we got to do. That's all they need to know. That's what we gonna do. And I don't think we have the right to not sit back and not, represent our lineage. I think the reparations is just step one because we owe it to the ancestors to take care of their future babies in our land for real.
It's none of their business. They didn't ask Native Americans what they did, and they're over there buying, barrels of alcohol and driving drunk. Nobody's
Preach.
monitoring what Jewish people do. We should. Nobody's monitoring what Japanese people did with their money. So this is just more slave attacks on our lineage. I refuse to answer that. I'm not accountable to those third world whatevers. I'm not accountable to them. I'm not accountable to white people. I'm not accountable to immigrants. I'm not accountable to other Americans. It doesn't have anything to do with them. It's between us and the United States government, which held people slaves. The end. We don't have to tell them what we're doing. That's none of their business, is what we're doing.
Right. Wani is exactly right. And that's one of our problems that was kind of imbued upon us. And I'm not judging the brother. I'm saying that this has been me too. We've been trained to kind of broadcast everything we do. And I say that while I'm on Twitter, but I just talk public information on Twitter. I don't talk family business on Twitter. But that's a good point, Wani. I want to say before I land my plane is like I said earlier, identify as the first step. Step one, Claude Anderson, Dr. Welsing, and others identified the problem. Where we took it to step two. I say our brother Tariq Nasheed took step two. He said, define. He defined, the lineage. Who are we? You know what I'm saying? Well, what's step three? Step three is choose. Isn't that important? So the next step that somebody needs to do is choose a course of action. Step four is to analyze. Let's look and analyze different issues within. And step five is to create. You know what I'm saying? And step six is to judge. That's the intelligent process that we've been following, age old process of creation that we're following. So we finally learned the game. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all look in the jumbotron, you'll see Nikki the Gods Cash App and Wani Spots Cash App. Show them love. Also, you'll see mine. Mine. If you put $25 on my Cash App, I will send you a copy of my book where I can talk about things that I can't talk about here for fear of being canceled. Matter of fact, the gentleman brought up Statue of Liberty. I have a whole section on Statue of Liberty in my book where I identify that the Statue of Liberty was a black woman. Who knew that? Did y'all know that she was a black woman sent by a Frenchman? The France leader, some of the political leadership in France felt bad about the slave trade. Um, Namely because they be having sex with black women. But anyway, the Statue of Liberty was a black woman who was sent over on a boat. When she got to the Hudson Bay in New York, members of the system of white supremacy immediately start dismantling her and making her into a white lady. They hid every aspect of her blackness but for the chain on her ankle, which is not accessible from when you go see the Statue of Liberty. They won't let you go down there. And I've been there before, and when you ask about the chain, they're trained to avoid the question or just straight deny it. But my book is full of hidden history like that. If you want it, put $25 on my Cash App and put your full address and full zip code. Don't forget to do that. And I'll send you out a book mid this week when I send out the rest of them. Moving right
And
along. Go
I
ahead,
just
Juana.
wanted to say the National Park Service tells all of the information about the Statue of Liberty. They that Statue of Liberty's meaning was also changed by a person, a Ashkenazi again.
Wow.
She wrote a poem about tired masses. The statue has nothing to do with broke down peasants coming over here. It has to do with winning the Civil War and the end of slavery, freedom. And they changed it around to say all the white men were free and liberated now. That this country was built on liberty. No, it was about us being liberated from slavery. It was about us being liberated. It's about the country winning the Civil War. It is not about huddled, dirty masses coming here and begging for stuff. Go home.
Wani, this shit is just like the Matrix. Like I've been, I'm a pretty intelligent person and I do this for a living, but even yet and still, I've been struggling for since I've been on Twitter for a year now to come up with the way to explain how this system works. um I don't know how to do it. Maybe I need to come up with a metaphor, but you made me think of it when you talked about the Statue of Liberty. That poem was a weapon created by a foreigner to take away our rights, our sympathy, to take away the sympathy and apology that came along with the Statue of Liberty. That fucking poem was a weapon. Was it bring us your masses, what is it? That bullshit that said basically make the Statue of Liberty mean it was for white immigrants. That shit had
Right.
nothing to do with them.
Nothing. She just bought it. She bought that position like they buy everything.
Sick and tired of it, man. Trey Day, what's on your mind?
Yo, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, I have a question. Look, I'm gonna say one thing, guys, that we got to do, and I'm not playing. I feel like as FBA Black American people, I feel like we have to stop giving our secrets out. Like for example, when we ask these tellers where they from, you know what I'm saying? We kind of give them our secrets. We're like, oh, my family's from Butler, Alabama, like Butler, Alabama somewhere. We got to stop doing that because eventually they're gonna catch on and start using that as their, oh, my family's from Alabama. What part of Alabama? Oh, they from over here. People are like, okay, he FBA, not knowing this person's a whole teller. So we got to stop kind of giving our secrets to people like that. Like you can kind of tell, people like, I'm from Alabama. Like what Alabama you from? Huntsville. Like, it'd be like
What's
Jackson.
all those noises?
I'm walking to the walking my exercise right now. My little exercise. My
Oh,
bad, y'all.
sorry.
No, but I was just saying we got to stop kind of get our secrets out because, like I say, you ask these tethers, they say Alabama. Be like, where in Alabama? Jackson. You know damn well ain't no FD people from damn Jackson. They from somewhere in a small town somewhere. You know what I'm saying, Alabama. So we got to stop. We got to start gatekeeping this information only
I
to us.
agree. I agree with that. I know we question each other and the people tell their background, so it's awkward to do that. But I agree that they do steal the information. Thankfully, they've been cursed with thick tongues and all kind of lists, so we can tell one way or another.
Our brother Tariq brought up some that's so true. The you talk like generally like your, well, generally like your mother, but I talk kind of like my dad. But I think you pick a parent to emulate. My dad's from up north, so I only sound like the country boy that I am when I get inebriated, or I'm real tired or real happy, but I'm saying that to say you can tell when people got a family member from somewhere else. If you just really calm down and listen to them, a Southern accent is something that's very hard to fake. I've never seen an Academy Award winning actor get a Southern. Tom Hanks didn't get a Southern accent right. That
That's
shit
true.
wasn't
That's
right.
true.
What about
So
me? I know
who?
I do Southern accents.
I can tell. I don't. I'm to the point now. I can tell if you from Georgia. I can tell if you from
Georgia,
Mississippi. I can
Sippy.
tell. I can tell if you from the SIP. I can tell if you from Kentucky. I know what I'm listening for. You
Not
know.
only that, we use certain words that's only regional, or
Right.
certain slang that's only regional.
I can tell if you from Texas. The black you from Texas. You near New Orleans, ain't it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm on that borderline.
Uh-huh. See, we know. We know.
But think about it. But think about it is like I say, I'm in LA right now, right? And we have a lot of
Uh,
tethers up here. Not tethers, we have a lot of nut beers up here. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, especially like if people who live in LA, there's a lot of Belizeans. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of act like us. You know what I'm saying? In a certain way, you can like you will tell eventually like, hey, you from somewhere, ain't you? They start saying like it like Caribbean music. They be like, oh hell no, who the hell is Caribbean music? But like for the most part, a lot of times they act like us. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to you know what I'm saying, to really kind of tell that. But you guys got it, got down packed with that one.
Yeah, but no, Trey Day, you're right, and Wani, you're right, because they're probably in here listening to this right now and trying to get their game together. We need to figure out some type of way. What we need. Let me just go ahead and break this down, and we go to DJ Big A up in this bitch. But what we really need, ladies and gentlemen, is real simple. We need millennials. Listen up. I'm an early millennial. We need to do what, and Gen Xers, listen up. We need to do what the baby boomers failed to do for us. We need our own institutions. We need institutions. We need schools. I want a fucking library, man. I want a library in the hood. Let's have a FBA library full of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's book with safe spaces where we can get together. You know what I'm saying? And have community meetings. We need that. The baby boomers failed us and tried to assimilate with a system that they didn't understand. They didn't care. That fuck a baby. I'm so sick of them. They didn't care to even do. They didn't care to do the research on it. Like they thought they got their 30 pieces of silver and moved on. Now that wasn't all baby boomers. Because my mom's a baby boomer and she was in the streets of Birmingham getting hosed down with pepper. They put pepper spray in those goddamn hoses. They didn't tell you that. She was there. There were a lot of baby boomers who cared, but in general, but the baby boomers sold us out. And then turn around, there are studies being done that baby boomers are not giving up their houses to their kids. Because millennials can't afford houses now. We're living in apartments and living in basements of parents with law degrees. No shit. Um, and baby boomers are not giving up their houses because the house is proven to be a point of power. So it's like I still got my house. They're not giving up jobs. I can speak on that. We got administrators in their fucking late 70s that won't leave because they're doctor so and so at a historically black college. We got a lot of cleaning up to do after these damn baby boomers. But on that I'll land. DJ Big A, educate us, bro. It's good to see you.
Man, what's up, Professor Wanda, rest of the panel? Look, it's funny you brought up the Statue of Liberty, right? I literally just had a whole full fucking debate with a dumbass white liberals and some tap dancing coon ass Democratic shields this morning on TikTok about the Statue of Liberty, and they want to make that bet with me, right? But on TikTok you can't really like put your shit. So I told them to go look it up. I said the Statue of Liberty had nothing
They
to
want
do
to
with
go down
immigrants.
and make a bet.
Yeah, yeah, they want. I tried to get them to bet me.
It's on the National Park Service website.
Listen. I gave them the source, and you know what the white broad did? She went right to the
What?
website and said it does have something to do with it's because see the white boy he tried to change it up, say, oh yeah, he's right. It is just a poem. It's not on the Statue of Liberty, but it is about immigrants or whatever. I said it had nothing to do with immigrants. I said if you can find me a source that says it was about immigrants, then we can make this bet right now. We can bet $100 on this right now. So the white girl gonna go over to the website, but then she gonna read the shit, but then try to fake like it was about immigrants. I said, no, no, no. I want you to post it. Turn your fucking camera on and put that shit on. I said, but before I could do it, they dropped me down. So I literally just had this debate this morning about the Statue of Liberty. The shit is crazy as hell, man. Oh, and then
Now
Professor, also they said that you get your dialect from your peers. Also, that's really
That
crazy.
that, that
yeah.
not true. I think you get it from
That's
your parents.
weird. It
Or
depends on parental interactions too. Maybe people that are not paying attention to their parents might get it in the street. Okay, so it when you ask AI, it says Emma Lazarus wrote the sonnet The New Colossus in 1883, which changed the meaning of the Statue of Liberty by reframing it as a symbol of immigration and refuge. The poem, especially famous lines, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free, was later inscribed inside the statue's pedestal in 1903. Okay?
yeah, in my thank you, Wani. In my book on page 15, I say, quote, the Statue of Liberty was inspired by French abolitionist and scholar Edouard de Leboulet. The Statue of Liberty was given to the United States to honor the former slaves of the diaspora and to represent freedom and prosperity amongst the group. If you look at the foot of the Statue of Liberty, you will notice a broken chain, which is intended to represent the end of oppression towards African slaves. It was done for black women. That's a black woman, and the French were embarrassed that French abolitionists like Edward de la Ballet was embarrassed that women were raped, that they had a part to do with that filth. And I mean, we live in such a filthy system, man. It's ridiculous. Fuck all. What's on your mind?
Professor Wani, Nikki. I saw her up here earlier. It's always a pleasure to be in these rooms. These discussions are always great, and they're just very beneficial to our community and a necessity. So I just wanted to address why do people who are not entitled to reparations hold spaces on our reparations? They're bored. That has to be the only reason because they're not entitled. They're not qualified. They're not educated most of the time. They're ignorant, willfully ignorant. They hold stereotypes that have been fed to them by the racist white community, and they use those stereotypes to be divisive and offensive. I just wanted to say the U.S. government has issued reparations federally two times. One to the Japanese, and the second time to Native Americans. On both of those qualifications, the qualification stated that you had to be a current U.S. citizen. You cannot be a foreigner. Um, Evanston, Illinois, was actually the first city in the U.S. to issue reparations to Black Americans. It was not lineage based, but it was based on oppression that was distributed through the real estate market, and 99.9% of that oppression was directed towards Black Americans. So 99% of the recipients of those reparations were given to Black Americans. And the qualifications for those reparations stated that you had to be a descendant of the people living there between the times that discrimination took place, and that you also had to be a current resident living there to this day. So, legal on a legal standpoint, there can be no way that reparations can be given uh, if it does not specifically relate to people who are living here in America, because that will open the U.S. government up to a civil rights violation, because it's never been It's always been the standard and the qualifications that have been set in reparations anytime reparations have been given in the United States. And I'll land on that. One more thing, actually. Yeah, I mean, reparations. We're going to get it. These people know we're going to get it. They've already been issued. Like I said, Evanston, Illinois has issued reparations. So it's just a matter of time. And yeah, I'll end on that.
Oh yeah. I wanted to quickly, before we move on to Rod the Whip, look back at history at a parallel in Dr. Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States. Brilliant book, by the way. He says class consciousness was overwhelmed. And we're talking about in the 1860s. So basically, to put things in perspective, we've been down this road before. We've been down this road of black people saying, fuck this, I'm not going to be in slavery anymore. Now, are we in slavery? I get in trouble for my opinions on that. But I will say that in 1850, slavery was physical. There are some scholars like myself that think that slavery turned intellectual or mental, however you want to look at it. But what I'm saying is during the deterioration of physical slavery, um, foundational black Americans was just like on some fuck this shit. We had a revolt after revolt after revolt. That were foundational black Americans snitched on each other through meritorious manumission. Then Nat Turner broke through, had one that I think he killed more than 50 people. I think that whole 50 people was cap. That Nat Turner massacred a lot of white people. But I don't condone violence. Don't misunderstand me. Um, Also, but I'm not saying anything bad against Nat Turner either. But my point of bringing this up, after Nat Turner did that, we tend to be trendsetters. A white man named John Smith went on a killing campaign. He said he had a vision from God and went on a killing campaign, et cetera, et cetera. So at that point, this is where I'm reading from. Dr. Howard Zinn says, class consciousness was overwhelmed during the Civil War, both North and South, by military and political unity in the crisis of war. That unity was weakened by rhetoric and enforced by arms. It was war proclaimed as war for liberty, but working people would be attacked by soldiers if they dared to strike. Indians would be massacred in Colorado by the U.S. Army, and those daring to criticize Lincoln's policies would be put to jail without trial. Perhaps 30,000 political prisoners. Still, there were signs on both sections of dissent from that unity, anger of poor against rich, rebellion against the dominant political and economic forces. Why did I read that? I read that because I'm a licensed historian, and what I'm looking at right now in the political climate in America is 1857. Or 1856. I'm looking at a possibility of a social conflict, and if I may draw a prediction, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would say if the powers that be do not give us foundational Black Americans reparations, they could be looking at a conflict brewing. So I think it would be in their best interest to just pay us. But that's what I think. Rob the Whip, what's on your mind?
So real quick, something kind of hit me while y'all was talking. Something I forget what it was. They said something that kind of like made a light bulb go off in my head. One thing, and I want to ask you because you've been in these spaces way longer than I have. I just found y'all, Tariq, about 2-3 months ago. Um, how do we get this movement out there more and show it to the community? Because there's a lot of division. I saw an article today about the old girl who came up with the ADOS concept, and I used to be on that until I found out she was who she was and what she was really about. But and I've been talking, and like I spread the word at my gym.
Oh, hey, a lot of us were Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I spread the word about.
Because it was one group at one point. It was like they weren't against each other, and Tariq, retweeted her stuff, and then she just started acting up.
Yeah. So my thing is, how do we promote the movement and really let people know? Because a lot of people, I do at my gym. You know what I mean? Like I said, I got my own business. So when they come through, especially as Black History Month, I've been teaching. You know, but how do we get the movement out in to the general public to let them know that this is where we're going, but it's not considering ourselves African American anymore. About the
Well,
FBA title, what it stands for. What
well,
are your
brother.
suggestions?
brother, if I may interject, we don't have to do anything because the movement's already flourishing. I'm gonna tell y'all something I told Nikki and Juan, but I just never thought to tell y'all. Do y'all know how I found out about Tariq Nasheed? I was teaching in my one of my lectures in the Fraser, a very poor neighborhood. If y'all seen Hustle and Flow, that's kind of Fraser in Memphis. I love those people with all my heart. They just normal people, just working class people. Most of them work in the Nike factory. But anyway, I was teaching, and I was teaching in high school at that point. I was teaching high school AP American History, and I had a class full of Black foundational Black American honor students, the best, and a couple of Mexican honor students. And I threw the book away and started teaching American history through Dr. Claude Anderson's books. Got in trouble for it and told the administration to kiss my ass. I'm gonna teach it, and I'll see you in court if you tell me I can't teach from a black man's book. Dr. Claude Anderson has a doctoral degree. He's a scholar. I see you in court. And I just kept teaching it, and something weird happened. The kids started being quiet, and they were just like very. I wasn't used to high school kids being like obedient, but they were just they were falling in love with their history. And one of my 15-year-old boys, 15 years old, said, "Dr. A, if you ever heard of Tariq Nasheed?" And I was like, "No." So I had a child, a 15-year-old boy, put me on Tariq Nasheed. I'm saying that to say that the message has been out. Hidden colors is a good way to put them. The message is out there. It's circulating, and it's already out. Cat's out the bag. Keep
Uh,
doing what we're doing. That's what I'm saying.
I get you. I don't know. I just, God damn, man. I just get frustrated sometimes because, I walked in the room earlier with you. I think yesterday you was arguing with these brothers, and you just left because of the ignorance that was in there. And it's a lot of ignorance.
Oh hell yeah, yeah, man. Oh yeah, yeah. But go ahead and finish. I'm glad you were in there because I want your perspective. But go ahead.
It's a lot of ignorance, just worldwide, not just in our community. Every community got a lot of ignorant people. But
Well,
at the
Rob, your naval intelligence. I did a little stint in the total force community. You know some of the brother. You know some of these folks on the payroll. You know some of these folks as agents and shit. Because yesterday, I'm glad you in there. What happened yesterday is there was a woman who came up that was upset about her daughter's lifestyle changes. And the woman, I'm paraphrasing her, but she mentioned that she was sick and tired of the social engineering of America. And I said, "Hey, hold on, what's your name? I need your name because me, Wani, and Nikki were having a space. We had a space last night talking about Sigmund Freud,
yeah,
and I just wanted to invite her."
yeah,
So that co-host, and you're right, just so ignorant, he misunderstood the context. Number one, he superimposed his insecurities on me and made it about something that wasn't even at all. But I'm not even gonna say the name. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. But anyway, the point is, my point that people are ignorant. The gentleman in question had no clue who Sigmund Freud was. He thought I said Siegfried and Roy.
yeah.
These are
I
the
was there.
circus
I started laughing. I'm
clowns.
like, this dude retarded as hell.
Right.
I was like,
I am
That's why
fucking dying.
brother brother Rob, that's why I left. I never leave fights since I like a good fight. I'm
right.
trained to fight on many. I'm trained. The Marines taught me how to fight, and I learned how to fight verbally in law school. I love a fight. But anyway, I left because
I
I
am
said
dying.
if this motherfucker think I'm talking about some circus animals, I gotta go.
Yeah, yeah. I left. I stayed for about 5 minutes after you left, and just listening with some of they saying like, "Yo, this dude is not." I understood all this motherfucker is just not smart. I'm just like, God damn, there's so much ignorance, man, in the world. Period. You can't fight with stupid people, man. You just can't. So I just sometimes I just get frustrated because I deal with it. One of my good friends, he's a really smart guy. Now he's a white guy, and he's really smart. We was in Afghanistan together, and he was right there next to me, putting in work, shooting and getting shot at. So that's my brother, man. He's a good dude, but for the life of him, he just can't understand, why can't we just get over it? And then you got black people, black folks is on the same thing. We need to get past and forget slavery. And that's just sometimes I get frustrated, bro. I get so frustrated because why do we have to forget about our history? Tell a Jewish person to forget about the Holocaust. See how if you ever get a bank loan. You know what I'm saying, like when it comes to us, we always gotta get over it, and or they don't want to hear
No,
it
Well,
we
or
well,
don't.
I put it to you. Oh, go ahead, Wani. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, we don't. Just because they want us to, because it reminds them of their evil deeds. This reminds two groups of people of their evil deeds, white people and African people.
well,
So
the concept back up to that one is when they say, "Well, I didn't have slaves, or I didn't." No, not go into how you benefited from it, from what your ancestors
that's
went through
that's not the
and did to you.
point. We're not talking to them. We're talking to the United States government. I don't know how. I mean, why is your white friend involved in the conversation?
No, you missed
Are
what I'm
you?
saying. I'm
He
saying
said we should forget about it. Why does he? Why did he even have that opening
I
to
said,
say that?
and I was saying black folks too. You got a lot of black folks that
Okay, why? Okay,
when I'm
so
talking to when I'm talking to people in general, because I'm spreading the word. Like I'm at ground zero working with kids all day in
okay,
the
why
community.
do they think that petitioning for something that other people are petitioning for right now, Native Americans right now are petitioning for things that happened to them in the 1800s, treaties that were broken, tribes that were not recognized to get what they want? Why are we being handcuffed by Sambos and crackers? And
And that's it.
why do we need them to agree with it? They don't have to agree. It's
So
still going
my
to happen. We're still going to pursue this. We have every right to pursue this. It's not about remembering it. Do you think Native Americans are being told not to remember? It's not even about remembering. Just because we're petitioning to get reparations does not mean we're sitting up there all day saying we're slaves, we're slaves, we're slaves. Why is it being perceived that way?
so my question was,
Wani, if I may interject, Wani, you really hit it. You hit it earlier. These groups do not want to be reminded, and I'm gonna prove it, Wani. These groups do not want to be reminded of their evil deeds, and they don't. These motherfuckers ain't got no conscience. It ain't even that. They don't want to be reminded that they got to pay up. They don't want that. And my evidence of that is these critical race theory laws. Like when you look at the critical race theory laws passed in Tennessee and other places, the legislation says that the teacher cannot bring up a lesson that makes one group feel responsible, and they say they don't want their children, i.e., white children, to feel guilty. So that's exactly what the fuck it is. It ain't nothing else. And I would end on this note, as a licensed historian, I know that history is a current event. We're dealing with history as we speak right now. We're carrying emotional scars. We're carrying financial scars. For history to be to change, you need to address it. Like, doctors know this. When you go to the doctor and get a chest checkup, what the nurse take from your history? Does anybody in your family have cancer? Does anybody in your family have blood pressure? They need to know that because history is a current fucking event. So to say that we just need to get over it, that insults my intelligence. I'm not talking about you, brother, but I'm saying I hear that a lot. And that insults my intelligence because we hadn't got over it. To get over it, we need to be made whole. That's what the lawyers say. We need
so
our
brother,
fucking money and we need our goddamn institutions. And then guess what? Then we can let bygones be bygones. But we need even Stevens. What the fuck we need?
so my thing is that's why I came to you. That's why I asked you this question because I know you're a historian. My thing is, it's not even. I'm not even talking about reparations. I'm saying when it comes to us as a people and our history, not just white folks, but you got black folks. Because like I said, I talk to people all the time about this stuff. They don't want to hear it. It's been shut down on both sides, and it's like, what's wrong with the pulse of this country where even your own people? I'm not a slave. I don't even worry about that shit. I don't worry about getting this money right here and now. The
Well,
ignorant.
brother, I don't know. I no disrespect. You know, I much love for you, but I don't know what arenas you're hanging out in. I'm not judging you. I'm really being honest because I hang out. I've just moved. I moved to Atlanta about a year ago. I'm going on a year, and I've been in Memphis. I've lived all across the country, and everywhere I go in the hood, I hear sentiment like we have, like people wanting to know more about our history, people who are down to help each other. I rarely bump in amongst foundational Black Americans. Rarely bump into the rhetoric of just get over it. you see the just get over it isms amongst foundational Black Americans with motherfuckers who got really good jobs, and like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw it with college administrators saying, "I don't see race" and all
yeah.
that crazy
That's what
mess.
I'm talking about. So that's what I was saying. Like, how do you?
Well, the answer to that is they're trying to keep their job. The college administrators I bumped into that sold all our students out were had they knew how competitive it was to have that job. They're not tenured. They know to keep it. They got a tap dance for the invisible white man who runs a lot of historically Black colleges. Hint, hint, hint. And they don't want to mess that bag up, so they're willing to sell children out and sell me out, you know what I'm saying, and put a Nigerian up that don't even have a PhD, got a fake PhD, to keep their job. And I wasn't proximal to any corruption, or I would have reported it, but I have indications that maybe some financial corruption goes on in these types of situations, you know. So these motherfuckers are corrupt as fuck,
Makes
and
sense.
they'll sell you out to keep their job. That's all it is.
Makes sense. Because yeah, where I'm at, it's a lot of money around here. Where I'm at. I'm in a Tidewater area, Virginia, down here where all the military is. So you got a lot of prosperous folks down here. They just it's about to get in the bag, man. Everybody, only thing that move around here is money. So
Are
people,
you,
kind of stay in their own bubble.
let me ask how you're saying it. Are you asking people to participate in our reparations?
No, no, no. I just talk to people like about Black history, especially because it's Black
So when
History
you
Month
try
on
to
my
talk
website.
about Black history, they attack you and
They don't
say they
want,
don't want to talk about it.
no, they don't attack me, but
What
they just
are,
say, man, I ain't worried about that shit. They're like, man, I ain't
okay,
anybody worried about that.
what kind of history are you showing? Because,
Just anything, anything
okay,
about Black history. Yeah, it's just like
so
it's a
if I
shutdown.
sit up there and I show the golden age of Hollywood and talk about all of our music genres, they would shut that down? Or are you showing something about being enslaved?
No, I'm talking about like okay, for instance, I had a one of the young men came in. He's one of my he wants to be a cage fighter, and I started black. I started talking to him about he was listening to cowboy boots. A brother walked in and signed up with cowboy boots, so he started clowning him. I said, "Yo, we." After he left, I'm like, "We were the first cowboys." No, man, I know you wasn't. And I went to the history of that. And he's like, "Man, I don't really care about that bullshit. I just want to, that's the mindset of a
About
lot of people."
cowboys?
Yeah, he didn't want to hear about nothing about Black history. He kind of shut it down. I
And he
just
was
want to
black.
train, man.
And he
Yeah,
was,
he was younger
You
black
sure this
kid.
motherfucker? You sure this dude is a
are
black
you
American
sure?
person?
No, all I say, he just came to my door wanting to train. That's all. So I went and signed him up and did my thing with him. But a lot of people just shut down shit. They don't want to hear about.
Well, you really said it all when you said where you live and the community you live in. You live in a military community. I've been proximal to that world before, and when you get around those contracts, those military contract people, the Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, everybody acts funny. You know, it's kind of you know how that is. You
Yeah,
know who runs that,
yeah, yeah.
and you dare not mention any blackness. Dare not mention any blackness around them. For I used to get in trouble when I was in uniform because I had my hair would be it just pissed me off because white boys would get their hair shaved on the sides and slick their hair down on top. But I'd try to do it, and then humidity would hit, and my hair would like just kind of go boing a little bit, and I get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Well, you're against regulation, so it's just it goes with that flow. Nobody around military contracts trying to hear about blackness.
Mm.
I remember in 2021, the Air Force, in order to honor the Tuskegee Airmen, had it was a new trainer, really pretty trainer craft to replace the T-38 to train pilots. Whatever it's called, it's something Hawk. But they painted the tails on all the trainers red in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen, and everybody went crazy. Why do they have to? Why? So that's just the
Exactly.
world you're
Yeah,
in.
exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, I was just saying if you had anything how to change the mindset of people in a different way, because I just keep talking, but till they say they shut it down. I'm like, all right, let's move on.
Yeah, find another group to hang out with, because that group is not really good for not good for you. Agent Zero, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on again, y'all? Hey, brother Rob, I want to tell you something, man. Everybody can't go, bro. Everybody can't go. So don't stress yourself about trying to change their mindset. Some people, it's like this. Um, my mom and my dad marched with Dr. King during that era. They went to a lot of those marches. They got sprayed with water hose and whatnot. Um, And during that time, a lot of black people didn't necessarily believe in Dr. King's message or felt the same way. But at the end of the day, a lot of those that didn't, they wind up seeing the light. So you don't have to. Those of us don't have to. There's going to be a lot of those rather of us that not necessarily participate or understand, but you will know who we are and what we are, one way or the other. So don't stress yourself about that, bro. It's a lot of us that's not gonna go. And then two, um, as far as a lot of white people or other people saying let go, this or this or that or whatever, man, it's the same way. I don't expect none of them to understand. And then two, it's not our position to explain ourselves to them. You know, either it's right here on Front Street. Either you get it or you don't get it. Well, you can feel how you feel about it, or you, or not. You know, either way, it don't make no difference to me. We're still gonna get ours. We still are who we are. You know, so don't let that get to you, bro, at all. And I land my plane.
My man.
Yeah, no doubt, guys. Anybody else want to contribute?
No, I think we're gonna wrap it up soon so we can get
Yeah.
started for the next one.
Hey, no, I got some Professor Wani, Nicky.
Yes, sir. So tar.
Hey, that dude was talking about it. Evanston, that's bullshit. They gave them $25,000
Yeah,
housing
that
vouchers. That
wasn't.
was
That
no
was
fucking.
Everton. That was a trick bag in Evanston. If
Yeah,
they
I live,
actually,
I live, I live 20 minutes away from Evanston because I live on the north side. I'm getting 20 minutes. I go down Ashland. I'm in Evanston with the street changes. That was a
Well, it
twenty-five
just
thousand
goes
dollars.
to show you that they are going to do. They're going to have a local initiatives. They may, um, like some of these big businesses that have harmed our groups may give out that type of reparations. And then, we're still working on the other one. We're working on all of these things. Don't worry, we're chipping away at it. That's why people are getting very angry. But again, I don't understand why Africans are talking about it. They don't have anything to do with it, let alone an East African. They don't have anything to do with us. They need to leave us alone.
Yeah,
very
Yeah,
you
nicely
know,
said, Wani.
I was gonna comment on the Everson thing because the people of Everson that know better, they know that was not of reparations at all. That was some bullshit led by Cobra, that Pan Africanist organization that sold them up the fucking river. So I didn't even know what. But that just goes to show that a lot of people in the black community, they cool with just being acknowledged. Well, oh, they gave us something. They gave you $2, and they just happy with that. It's
But
symbolism runs rampant in our fucking community, and
bam,
they got to stop it.
y'all heard what DJ Big A just said? That's
Well, they
psychological
had a
trauma.
whole movement against it. So just, just so you guys know, they had a whole movement that told them to take it and shove it up their butts. So, but it goes to show you that they are aware of the issue and they're going to have to put up something. And we just keep slam dunking it in their face, just like with the Democrats and this, oh, we're going to do HR 40 again. Up, shut up, back in your face. And now they're going to be quiet about it because it didn't work. So yeah, they know they have to address it. So just let these little fake attempts, let those get out there because they know they have to address it. And it's being pursued, trust me, behind the scenes is being pursued in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. DJ
That's why
Big
we're
A
in these
said,
spaces all. That's why we're in these spaces so often because we have to repeat so much because they keep trying to wither their way into this door, that door, and so we have to keep repeating things over and over again. We have to keep re-examining the wording for everything. It's exhausting, but it's worth it.
yeah, I see that. I know Conrad World. I met him a few times. If you want to smell a nigga that smell like incense with koofies and shit on his head, he works at North. I was trying to do Northeast, take this one class,
Incense isn't
but
bad.
yeah, when
And some
when they're
incense
paying
smell
What
good,
kind of
some stink.
incense? What kind of incense does he smell?
what kind of
that
incense?
shit you get from the Indian shop on the corner that smell weed. They smell weed and they sell weed and happy endings. That's that type of instance. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, but going back to what Rob and Whip said, I'm not gonna lie. Chris Rock said the best. Niggas don't want to read books a lot of time unless they come out of prison or they grew up reading. Some people just can't sit still. They can't even sit still and get on a squat rack. They can't sit still and just work on their cross or a hook or the heavy bag. So If he couldn't sit down and read the book, that nigga ain't gonna be able to listen to you in the train and listen to you when you corner him. So that was like a blessing in disguise.
I wanted to say something
Can
right
we stop
quick.
that stereotype though?
Hey, can y'all hear me? Can you? Is my thing messed
No,
up?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, we
okay,
can hear
okay.
you.
Yeah, I was making sure I could.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
hear you.
no, it's okay. I just make my thing will desync, and I'm talking to myself. But DJ Big A said something real powerful about how that Foundation of Black Americans sometimes just want acknowledgement. We see that a lot amongst the boomers, but that comes from psychological damage of slavery. Dr. Claude Anderson says slaves were intentionally kept without hope, period. So that's right there. That's some of that whole hope thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh wow, they finally said they're sorry. That's good enough for
No,
me.
it's
You see
not.
that shit with, and then no, hell no, that ain't good
No,
enough.
like that dumb plaque out here in California. Again, they got their asses handed to them. Nobody cared about the plaque. Nobody mentioned it. Thanks for the plaque. Here's my boot up your ass. Don't talk
I
to
would have
us
I would have
anymore.
spray painted on that
You
motherfucker.
should.
Allegedly. Um. So, okay, we got Mark Front.
Shout out to you, Professor. My sister Wani and stuff. I been following Wani for a couple of years now, man, and I see a couple people in here like Big A and everything. But I want to get. I was echo the sentiments of Wani. I heard it earlier, man. Like I said it 2 years ago, man. We don't need to be even entertaining these. If you're not Black American, bro, like you know what I'm saying, or you crack on stage, bro, I don't need to hear about you talking about our reparations, man. We supposed to been cancel these people out, even like getting on these stages, man, and like I know a lot of dudes be simping or trying to let these have. Listen, bro, even if you have the lineage, bro, you don't even need to be talking like you because you got two allies. Your heart lies in two different places, bro. Like you know what I'm saying. So that's what I was already saying. So I was echoing the system. It's like why are we even getting into these spaces? You're a Black American. Why is you getting in these spaces with these other people? Because they can't tell us nothing about our paperwork, our story. You can't tell us nothing about our story that you're not going to incite me or anything. All they got to do is open up one of these social security buildings because every social security building around any city is mostly glass. They really ain't got no lines out front. So when they start handing out the reparations and we go into social security buildings and we go into IRS buildings and stuff like that, they already gonna know who we are, and that's where we're gonna come up with our paperwork, our genealogy, knowing what's going on. But I've been said that, man, stop entertaining these people who's holding these spaces because they drawing these crowds. They over here. They don't got. They're not trying to help us or anything. They just trying to confuse the situation, man. So we really don't even listen to them. And I was just having another little thing I was talking about. I was in the coffee house today with a young Black American, and I know he was in college because it was like over by campus. And so I'm stepping up. We see each other. We nod. I nod at him because you already know Black Americans' mannerisms. Like we already know the walks. We know the head nods. We know the hand gestures. There's a lot of stuff you can't cosplay. You can't create a player of that. So I'm going to get my coffee, but his was first, and he had a name on it said NFN. So I'm like, hey man, what's going on? So once he came up to the thing, I said, man, what's up? You Black American? He's like, no. I said, I'm Black American. I said, what you got NFN on your cut for? He said, oh, that's no first name. And it's on a legal document. Like you can really have this. It's really meant for like fathers and juniors. Like I'm a senior and my son is a junior, but you can go on legal documents and just have just your last name. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm asking why you could put that in legal document, say NFN, your last name, and that's a legal document. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But it's like I said, it's meant for fathers, that's the seniors and juniors. But immigrants using this, you know what I'm saying? Immigrants getting away with just one name and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just probably draw that on a lot of people and drop that little thing on it. But yeah, shout out to the space, man, for everybody, man. I just want to come up on that.
No doubt, bro. I appreciate your submission. We're gonna go to
Um,
our brother.
I wanted to
Go
say
ahead,
something real
Juan.
quick. We had a vote one time that we weren't gonna have white people on the stage, and we voted to
Yes.
not talk, to not really deal with them because, like I said, I'm not opposed to talking to white groups about common issues. Like we both don't like immigration if we want to work as a group, which I don't think we have to because we voted for that. So, and, if somebody wants to be an ally, they don't have to be on the stage to be an ally. Go do something off the app. Get some attraction. Get something
Yeah,
going.
quit running your mouth.
Right. Get something going. I don't know why it requires you to stand on the stage and talk. So I did, I have been trying to listen to these people's spiels, but the last white guy that came in here, he was apparently some kind of white supremacist that was bothering Tariq. So I'm going to go back to my original idea of not tolerating these other people that are not, unless we want to roast somebody. Now, roasting is different than, because sometimes we gotta roast. It's some kind of like a biological problem we have. Sometimes we gotta roast, and sometimes they need to be roasted. So they like to be roasted, and we like to roast. So we can do that sometimes. But if it's going to be them centering themselves and talking about, oh, I heard your room and it's great. I know it's great, dumbass. Now get out. Because that's also an insult. I couldn't believe you niggers could talk. I already know how to translate everything. I speak white.
Imagine working in the nursing field and getting that type
Oh
of
my
shit, and then
God.
walking into a new position, and they're like, "Oh, where did you go to school?" Like they're ready to check your credentials. So I'm feeling you, Wani. Wani is 100% correct.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And with me, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to, the moment I wear some Air Jordans or a hoodie and just let my guard down, stop wearing bow ties and shit and be the real me, I start getting rolled up. I swear to God, I put on some goddamn Air Jordans and a Bape hoodie. Usually dress like I dress in the picture on my profile, but one day I just said fuck it, wore some Jordan threes and some Bape hoodie and a ball cap, and I start getting rolled up. You were 5 minutes late to work. It's ridiculous. I'm like, I don't have a lecture right now. What difference does it
Yeah,
make?
Well, it
but
makes,
I'm in agreement with everything you said about that subject, Wani. I'm on the same
yeah, I
page.
think it's
Same
I
here.
think it's best because they make me feel uncomfortable. I don't trust them. And unless I'm going to roast them, they can't stay. The serious talking with white people. Hey, like I said, if you want to do it, you have a group, you have a anti-immigration group or whatever you want to. You want to, talk about it, what we could do as a group together. Fine, but no, you're not going to stand up on the stage and babble about whatever your point of view is.
Facts. Carlos, hadn't seen you in a while. What's on your mind, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Professor Wani, Nikki? Peace to the room. Um, yeah, I just wanted to, I'm gonna be real brief. I just wanted to tell the brother that's in Topwood, I don't remember who he is. Give me a follow back because give me a follow because I'm in that area also. So just hit me up and we'll talk offline.
You talking about the brothers in the military in the Virginia area?
Yeah.
That was Rob the Whip.
Okay.
Yeah,
The-
Rob the Whip. Carlos want to follow, bro. Um, let's go to housing, and then we'll close this space with 50 cent. I mean 69 cent. I'm sorry, I don't got my glasses. I don't like wearing glasses.
Hey guys, how everybody doing?
Hey,
Yes, sir. What's going on, brother?
I'm quiet on this end. Uh, One thing I wanted to, a couple of things I wanted to say, but I'm gonna say them real quick. Wani, this is why when you told me relax, you
I
said it
still
twice.
want you to relax,
With,
though. I don't want to scream on
but
the
I
stage.
sensed something. But Wani, I sensed something in him. I sensed that something wasn't right.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad.
Okay,
I
moving
still
on.
don't need a pit bull on the stage at all points. Remember,
Okay,
I'm a pit bull too.
Ronnie, I got that off for you. You roasting
I
him.
am also a
I'm your
pit.
little pit bull.
I'm
All
also a
right,
pit
moving on.
bull.
I got you. Hey, Ronnie. Oh, okay. Why do people who are not entitled to reparations hold spaces in it? This is my thought. They feel like they could come into our spaces because they're comfortable, because they've been coming into a lot of other areas out in the world, like in our neighborhoods and everything. So let me just come up in this space. But it pisses me off when they start talking about things that's going on with Black America. The basic stuff, the history stuff, and all that. My God, where are you from? Why are you talking about something that happened in 1865? You know what I'm saying? Talk about your own country. Stay out of our space. On another note, a lot of these people that come in our space think that everybody is Pookie and Ray Ray. We're not. You have a lot of people on here that speaks very well. And we could roast you just on that note without saying a lot of foul mouth words. We could bite you, eat you up, and spit you out. With that, I'm closed.
Yeah, we got to quit using that trope as damn self, the Pookie and Ray Ray shit. All black Americans got nicknames, damn near all of us. Uh, and just because of the dude star don't make him no better when his nickname is Pookie. He
I'm about to
a
get on the
fucking
elevator and
doctor
I'm
or
about
something,
to get
but
cut off.
his family call him Pookie. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, I
we
use
got to stop
Pookie and
using
Ray
that
Ray.
trope. I do not like that. Nah.
Hey,
Because
well,
even some of
listen.
them guys
At the end of the
that say
day,
stereotyping is more intellectual than that stupid ass white boy that come in the room that'll say
Pookie and
some
Ray Ray
dumb
mean
shit
you
like
putting them through the
you
mattress.
talk well for a black guy. What the fuck do that supposed to mean?
yeah,
What
This
the fuck?
coming
You know what I
from
mean?
absolutely.
people with London lisp. I dare a person from London. They can't even say TH words. I know they ain't trying to talk to me. They had to call the Thames River Thames. Thames. Tems. It's
Wow.
pronounced, it's spelled Thames. Now, they don't say Thames because they can't say it. You'd be
Thames.
surprised. Every time I'm riding around, they're like, oh, it's not Norwich, it's Norwich. Because you can't talk. Why do you have the goddamn W in there? If it's not
Right.
Norwich, oh, it's Norwich. No.
They learn how to speak from a bunch of
Right.
inbreed. So yeah, the royal family is full of inbreds, and they set the standard for how you talk over there.
Oh, Jordan Maxwell got it in they ass when you look at one of his old interviews. He said he met with the Prince and King of England or some shit, and Elizabeth walked in, and he was like, "Hello, mommy, come here, mommy," and he was like, "This." He said, "This motherfucker rules the world." Jordan Maxwell was funny as hell.
Mummy.
Uh, mommy. Mark Anthony,
Wait, just real quick, I just want to bid everybody a farewell. I have to get going.
Okay.
Love you all. Take care. Bye,
love
Wani.
you, Nikki. I'll see you
Have a
later.
good
I'll
day.
Bye, yeah.
see you later on Spaces.
Okay, bye.
We're about to close, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back in a couple hours. I gotta run do some grocery shopping right quick. Mark Anthony, what's on your mind? In 69 cents, I have last words.
How you doing, Professor Allen?
Doing well,
Wani,
brother.
that's good. That's good. I want to make a statement, then I'm gonna answer the question to the room. I'm in agreement with Wani about not allowing white people to come up on stage and babble and stuff into our business because that's the same thing that Malcolm X had to do with his OAAU group because he had white youths who wanted to join, but he said no. This is a Black American group because he understood the mindset of the white people and stuff, and he understood the black youth that was already in there because they'll start leaning towards the white kids if he allowed them to join. So yeah, but the answer the question to the room, uh, I simplified. They think because we have the same skin tone, same hair texture, and they think that most Black Americans still had the same mindset they did in the '90s, where we was always looking to Africa and stuff for our identity, which now we that's a fallacy and stuff. So that's why uh the immigrants feel that they're entitled because they think we still have that same mindset we did back in the '90s. So I'm gonna land right there.
All right, appreciate it. 69 cents. You got uh go ahead and make your submission, and we'll go to trade day. Go ahead, 69 cents.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. I'll keep it real quick. I just wanted to say I sent what you was requesting in your inbox, and I want to ask. I'm gonna send it both written and audio format, but is there certain type of like information do you like to digest it audio or written? What's your preference?
Audio be more convenient, but either which one,
Okay, that's great.
I read fast.
Okay, so I'm gonna be sending you some information. I'm not gonna try to share too much on here, but one thing that I think we got to be wary of is, we were in bondage, and that even goes back to biblical times, but it goes into our current experience. A lot of people we have issues with that word, and we don't know how it puts us in bondage currently. So what I mean is there's a Latin term called nulla bonda, uh, NULLABONDA. It's actually a term that means no good, a Latin term that means no goods, but in law it means execution proof or judgment proof. And the reason I bring it up is because a lot of ways that we end up having attorneys lose our property and our wealth is because we end up getting put back in bondage. Okay, through like warrants and judgments and all kinds of commercial entrapments and things like that. And um, that's actually what these estates and trusts are for. So some of the information I'm going to send you is how to how to get into that status, um, and do it so that we don't end up back in bondage with some of the wealth that we're going to have. And I'll just kind of leave it at. Oh, last thing. The way
Is
that
this that sovereign citizen stuff?
no, not at all, not at all. I'm glad you asked me that. No, it's absolutely not at all. Everything is something that is within the realm of law. It's not outside of law or something some people make up. Yeah, it's unfortunate a lot of people go down that route. I know what you're talking about, but that's the quickest way you're going to lose everything you got, or might lose your life. So no, it's not that.
Did you know that I had a friend that got to be a sheriff in a tiny Mississippi town, and he said they were instructed to treat sovereign citizens as lunatics, as
Uh,
mental patients.
that and terrorists, paper terrorists, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, they did. They said we pat them on the head, like, okay, guy. And then they have to weed through all the stupid paperwork, and ultimately they lose. But
right. And well, what they don't know is they get on like terrorist lists, and they looked the attorneys generals, put out education from law enforcement on down on how to deal with those people. It's really not. It's really a dangerous thing to do because you talking about going against government. Um,
Well, yeah. Well, if you renounce yourself from the bounds of the government and you renounce yourself sovereign citizen, it's by nature you're saying you're diametrically opposed to the system you're in. So you make yourself a splinter cell, you make yourself a terrorist.
Exactly, exactly, or at least looked at that way to some extent. So no, no, that's not what I'm talking about. But that's why I mentioned estates and trust. That's all I mean. That's what
no, that's
wealthy people
legitimate. I
use.
just heard some other stuff and I thought makes
Let me
sense.
give y'all a warning since you brought that up. If any of you decide to go back to law school or you got a son, daughter, nephew, niece, nephew to go to law school, tell they ass to make sure they take a couple classes, wills and trust, divorce law, and family law. Cause we all skip over those. I skipped over wills and trust. I said, man, I don't need that. And man, that shit's so important because unfortunately people pass away, you know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna pass away, and you want to set things up to where you don't get taxed on it. So yeah, don't pull a me. I should have took it because I'm having to write some wills right now, including my
I
own. But
located
go
a
ahead.
I located a glow in the dark mushroom. It's not like the flower you had.
The flower.
Remember you said you had a glow in the
Oh,
dark flower? You saw a glow in the dark flower? Well, this is
ladies and gentlemen, she's talking about when last time I went to West Africa, I took a camera with the university to take pictures of my evidence before I wrote on articles and stuff. And I took pictures in West. We went to the jungles of West Africa, the places you don't get to go. And I got some wild fucking pictures, but y'all are gonna see them pretty soon because the government just sent me my Wani. I copyrighted them. So I'm about to show him. But I got a flower. I picked my wife a flower. When we were dating and broke, I used to pick her flowers at the apartment because I couldn't afford to buy flowers. Like I just steal them off the fucking apartment sign. But we were in Africa. I saw a flower big as my hand. I got big ass hands. and I snatched that flower off a tree. I was putting it in her hair, and the shit lit up.
Wow.
Hell yeah, I got it on camera. Trey Day, what's on your mind, bro?
So I keep it quick, man. I appreciate you. The title of the space. That damn Djibouti, that dirty East African bitch. She's been doing this shit for like a month now. Having these motherfucking white people, just talking all type of crazy into space. But yeah, like y'all been saying, don't pay that bitch no mind. It's very disrespectful what she's doing. But yeah, I appreciate you bringing attention to this and just telling people stay away from her. But
Oh,
yeah,
oh yeah, bro.
you and wine,
Hey,
and yeah, very much, very much.
hey, man, you kind of fucked me up, man. I want you to go to my DM and put some information on that. The Moors being affiliated with the Temple of Set, Typhon.
I got
Uh oh,
you.
Are you
you hooked
guys
me up
following
Is
because
each
brother
other?
McCall in here, man? He got mad at me
Uh
last time.
oh,
yeah, I'm
scenario.
following. Bro, hey, bro, you sent me down a rabbit hole that makes perfect fucking sense. The Moors are the ones who created all this mess, aren't
They
they?
literally gave the white folk Freemasonry, the
They were
Rosicrucians,
they definitely.
all the secret
Oh,
societies came from them.
Hmm.
They handed
jeez.
they handed out the master plan to the created ones, the created white people. That's a
Damn.
slave army out to handle the business of the original bad black people.
The original Bad Black. Hey, DM me because I need to know more. I need some books.
Bet. I got you, man. I got you. Let me get my list together, whatever. Uh,
Yes,
Give
I
sir.
us
got
a
Ladies and
give
gentlemen.
us a title that you want to debate us on in the room.
I want
Yeah.
brother McCall in here, man, because he
Well, we could do a three-way
he ran
debate.
me. He was mad at me last
No,
time.
yeah,
Like
let's
he
get
was,
over it. We'll do it again.
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I understand both sides of
Yeah,
the argument. Macau is on the continent and he knows the actual names,
right,
but when we're trying to educate, it's like we're stuck within this framework of what the Europeans call things.
right,
Yeah, it sucks.
right. That was the main
Well,
point.
ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna see y'all again in 2 hours. We'll crank back up in 2 hours. So look for us then. Any last words, Wani?
Good day.